Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Gracious Father, we want to thank you for all the blessings that you have given us. We want to thank you, Lord, for all the safety that you have given us. And we thank you for the crews that run us and the clerk's office that keeps us going in the right direction. And we thank you, Lord, for their safety and help them along with the fire department, the police department, and the operation of their duties. And we pray, Lord, that you grant us the wisdom to be able to move our city into the future. And please, Lord, help us to accomplish that. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Amen. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If the clerk would please take roll call.
Mayor Grant,
Present.
Mrs. Carnahan. Present. Mr. Moss,
Present.
Mr. Pointer,
Present.
Mr. Smith,
Present.
Mr. Roderick,
Present.
Attorney Ingrid Bars. Present. Deputy Clerk Mickey Hubbard is present.
Junior council members.
Morgan Wood. Present. Lillian Irwin, Jocelyn Barnett, Grace Hiller, Caden Ashley, and Addison Hill.
Okay, thank you. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting? That would have been July 14th.
Yes, we reviewed them, and I had one change. I'd like to request that under the citizens petitions, Kim Colwait, the new WIGA director, we'd like to check her spelling on her name. I think it's actually Kalweit.
I think you're correct.
If we can make that change.
And also on the last page, miscellaneous business, change the address from 1100 South Brady to 1117. That's an incorrect address there.
Any other things anybody noticed?
If nobody else has any changes, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes with the corrections pointed out. Citizens petitions, questions, concerns. Looks like maybe we have at least one. Please state your name.
Teal Briles. I wanted to kind of get information, but also find out if there's an ordinance that is applicable to this situation that we have in areas where commercial and residential areas meet, and the commercial lighting is like focused right at our houses. I know there's an ordinance and I have it on my phone. And I came to the city building about a month ago and inquired about it because it says that it has to be facing away from the residential areas. But if you will, I have a picture. We can kind of see what kind of, this is midnight at my house.
Where's the light source?
It's the Free Methodist Church, and I'm
Okay,
working
that's the
with
old nursing
them.
home?
I don't want to complain. I'm working with them, trying to get it remedied. And then also the Attica Motel is in my back. So when we go to bed at night, we have to shut all of our shutters, all of our doors, everything, because the whole house is lit up like daylight. The new buildings out there, like Tractor Supply, all of those are great because they all put lights in that shine down. These are almost like football field lights at our house. That's midnight. So, anyway, my concern is I do have an ordinance that says, and it's under general provisions, and I'm not sure where this came in. I had it on my phone, but it says outdoor lighting facilities, if provided, shall be so arranged as to be reflected away from property residentially zoned or used. So
Yeah.
is that applicable
I
to
think
my
I think
situation?
it probably is, yeah.
So if I can't get the issue resolved, I guess my concern is where do I go at this point? What do I come to the city council meeting again and,
No, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that would just fall under our building inspector's duties. Eric?
Correct.
Well,
I hate to say that, but
The wagon.
Okay, so
but-
get contact Eric.
Yeah, but hopefully you'll get somewhere with the,
And
with
would
the
it
church
be-
and get it.
Out of step for me to go over to the motel and ask them to consider, because they keep putting up more lights all the time, and the lights today are so bright. And they're right, our neighbors the Martins put up a big barn because they
I
couldn't.
think, and this is my opinion, but I think that would be a good first step, to try to settle it at the lowest level possible, which is basically knocking on your neighbor's door and saying,
Right.
hey, is there any way you could handle this before you take that next step and the next step?
So I just wanted to make sure that there was something the city, and make sure, if not, then that's something we probably need to discuss as new businesses come in, and we're combining residential areas with commercial areas, that we make sure that we protect those residences from that kind of lighting. Seems like most of the new lighting is a down light, and it's not so intrusive, but definitely a
I
point
think
of
they even talk
concern.
about like some of that upward lighting as being not great for animals and stuff like that too.
Well, they're almost like football field lights when we sit on our front porch at
Yeah.
night. It's like
So-
we're at the football field.
Do they have them fixed to the building? They're not on a pole?
They're on a pole.
Okay, they're on
And
a pole.
they did make one attempt to adjust them.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
The other one, I think, just is gonna have, I don't know if they can tilt them straight
Yeah.
down, but we took ours out at our building at Farm Bureau and put down lights.
Mhm.
And-
Those look nice too, by the
Thank
way.
you, thank you. So that's just kind of an issue I think we need to, I just wanted to make sure that this particular ordinance, if I use that to show them, Eric, would it be applicable? Okay, okay.
Larry,
So will you let us know, or at least let Eric know
Yeah,
what you
Find out.
resolve with them, and
yeah. Well, if I don't
hopefully we
get it
won't have to
resolved,
take
I'll
any
be
steps.
back, so.
Yeah,
Hey, Larry, I got a comment to that.
Yes, sir.
Actually, so Ms. Browse, thank you for bringing it in, and you really hit a chord with me because where we're located is actually right across from County Market and McDonald's.
Uh-huh.
And the lights are so bright that you can't actually see walking down the street. It's like, it's that bad. And I kind of talked about it a little bit in the past, and so we eventually just kind of put some kind of structure there to block the lights so we could actually kind of work at night or do whatever, and I understand how blinding those can be.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that I'll support you in your efforts to try to get that corrected.
Our front porch faces the church, and we're glad to have them there for sure, but it's just,
sure.
we need to try to get those turned where they're away from, or pointed down. It's well lit.
It's a pretty good distance from there to you. I mean,
Pardon me?
It's a pretty good distance from
Yes.
them to you to be that bright, you're right.
Yeah, it's
They're
pretty
too bright.
They really just need it for their building and
Yes.
their property.
Yeah.
That's really what they need it
I'll
for.
send them another text and see if they can
All right.
have a chance to get on that, but I just wanted to use this if I have to.
No, I think that's spot on too.
All right.
And there's
Thank
one
you.
on the backside too.
Pardon me?
There's one on the backside
Yeah,
of the
there's one on
property.
the highway facing us, and then there's one, the back one, even though they turned it, it still faces us, because the way the angles are back there.
Mhm.
So and they're not just street lights, they're those bright, like 6 light things that they do. They look like football field lights.
Should I put in a word to Pastor Jerry and Pastor Josh? Because I go to the Free Methodist.
It wouldn't hurt if you were just supposed to say, hey, I mean, it's okay with everybody
Yeah, I
else,
think
but
you could say, hey, this came up at city council
Yeah.
meeting, and
Okay.
Save Eric some trouble too, if we could.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Teal. Anything else?
I don't think
Okay.
so.
Ma'am, you had something? Yes.
Yes. I'm Sandra Dunick, we're across the street. I'm all in with your plight, because I had their flashing green light at my house for the last 7 years, so they couldn't shut it off. Plus the street lights are, thank you, Mayor, though, you got some reflectors.
I did
against them,
try.
But it's still very bright. I have 4 lights that point right at my house, the white one here.
Yeah.
And I'm the only house in that whole area. I don't know why we need that many lights, but they're there. And I have to also close everything up at drapes to sleep. So I'm on your plight too. Okay, I won't take up any more of my 3 minutes here. But anyway, I do have a couple of concerns, and these may have been addressed. I went back and looked at a lot of the minutes because I'm in and out of town a lot, and I don't always make it to the meetings. However, I did ask a couple of the businesses in town, what is the truck route that is for the industry, Culligan, farm equipment, you name it. So I've noticed, I took some videos, I won't bring them up, but I took some videos, and there's so many extra semis, trucks, tractors that go between my house and the Presbyterian church, that little section right there. They come down now, there's a four-way stop there, which I think is an improvement. However, the trucks have to take up the whole road to turn, and then they come up, and there's not, when there's church cars parked there, two cars, a truck and a car can't get through. Then they go across, they can't make that turn by the little library because of the semi and the culvert. So they go straight across, and many times their semi is actually in the street when it gets to the next stop sign. And then when it gets to the next stop sign, that's kind of a dangerous way to pull out on 41, if you ask me, because I don't go that way myself because of the trucks and you can't see when they're parked along the street. So that's my concern. What's the truck route? Because I think that we need to look at that because the truckers can no longer go through town, many of them, because of the curbs. So that's my issue. What's the truck route? Second issue is I recently wasn't able to open my front door or my back door. And I thought, oh, it was just moisture. No, I had a doorman come out and he said, you know, you have a lot of traffic. They're jarred. And I said, well, we've had more traffic down the street. Here's the thing. I've been noticing my teapots and different things would rattle a lot. And he says it's actually from all the extra traffic and the movement. Now, it may sound crazy to you men, but that's what I was told. And so now I'm having to have the two doors fixed to get them open. I can't even open my front door right now. And so, you know, that's a compounded thing that I will take care of. However, we need to address this traffic issue. And the noise level is even, you know, more because my bedroom window is 10 feet from the street, you know, and it you know, sometimes 6, 7 in the morning, there's semis going by and they're loud with their ears and stuff. And so, but mostly I'm concerned because people park along there on both sides and you can't get 2 cars down that street. And so, anyway, I don't know if you have anything to add to tell me that there is a truck route and that they're not going to use that part of the street. I would be concerned. I tried to get Mark Mason's attention this morning to ask him about his windows because my windows rattle when some of them go by. So, and the church with the stained glass. So I think it's an issue. I think that the city council needs to address it and see what we can come up with.
I can tell you that we've asked that semis not go through downtown since we redid downtown, like you said, because of the curbs. We're trying to make that more pedestrian friendly. There is an official truck route that goes to C&D Batteries, and it's clearly marked. It goes down by the car wash, across in front of the city garage, up to C&D that way, either to the front gate or to the back gate. You turn at the corner there by Boudreaux's and go back east and get there that way. As far as like you mentioned Culligan and those places, I don't know how else you get there. I mean, it's not on a main route any place. So they're going to have to go down Main Street or across like you're talking about or find a route to get over there. And there's going to be farm vehicles, you know, that especially in the fall, it's a farming community. There's going to be farm. I don't know how you could restrict traffic from all of the streets to keep them off of that any better than what we have. I'm open to suggestions from council.
Is there an air brake ordinance? or-
No,
We weren't allowed to. We tried that a couple
We
of years ago, but the state wouldn't let us.
I would love it.
they said that's a
Yeah, 41.
safety device on the tractors, and you cannot regulate a safety device on the tractors.
But you can fine to decibels though, right? If they exceed certain decibels, you
Not
can
on the
fine.
state highway.
Oh, really?
And this isn't state highway, this is city street.
But yeah, but it easily carry over there.
Right.
You know, I'm a farm girl, so I understand farm machinery, but some of these machinery, I could drive a car under, they're huge, they
Oh,
take up the
yeah,
whole
oh,
thing.
yeah.
And why are they going between my house and the Presbyterian church? Where are they going? There's no farm ground up out here. They come down Summit, but they should just keep going down Summit and go to the truck route or something. I mean, you can't, the church, those ladies park on the church side almost every day. And you can't do two cars passing each other when they're parked the way they park there. And Sunday, you know, they park out into the street. And, you know, I go around the block sometimes because I can actually see around the cars. That, you know, there's a parking lot across the street, but nobody uses it, you know.
Ms. Dunick, how often or what's the frequency? And it sounds like it's mainly on Sundays that is your
No.
issue?
No, it's not Sunday. I took some videos, between 7 and 8:30 a couple of weeks ago. There were 7 semis that went past my house. So I just thought I would take some notes because I said, do you notice more traffic and why? Oh, we can't go downtown. So when I stopped at the Culligan place to get my salt, I said, do you guys have a truck route? And they said, yeah, but we don't use that because it's easier for us to go this way. Well, you know, it's hard to pull. You can't turn there by the President to come out onto Main Street. It's dangerous. Not only, it's just dangerous, and it's a lot more traffic. I'm not complaining about the noise as much as the frequency of the traffic every day. We're talking every day.
It's busy. I sit out here in the office and I can see this road is much busier
Yeah.
than a lot
I
of
mean,
them.
it's, and when they have to stop there, the trucks take up, I mean, they take up the whole route, you know. So anyway, that was my first thing. I got a couple other things. I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time, but I think we need to address it.
Do we have signs up?
We
You
do.
said that say the truck route?
We do, it's designated, and it was through NDOT. NDOT
Mhm.
approved the truck route. Because we couldn't put up no truck signs through downtown unless we had a designated truck route.
Well, they're obviously not using it. And it may be people that don't travel it often enough. You know, I don't see the CDC or whatever that place is. I don't see anything on the side of the truck that would indicate it was them.
Yeah, and typically the trucks that go in and out down there aren't marked C&D batteries on.
They're
them
not
either.
marked.
No.
A lot of these aren't marked, but the video that I took was, one of them was so long that he was halfway across the main street to the stop sign, because there's another car there. So he's blocking traffic on Main Street, you know, and then when he gets up, goes through, and I watched him go up to the sanctuary one, and, you know, to sit there and have to pull out into all of the traffic, I mean, he's got to use both lanes to pull out. It's dangerous.
So, Ms. Dyke, you're most familiar with this because you're the one that's keeping track of it. What's your recommendation?
Well, if I had my wish list, I would say that little stretch between 6th Street and Presbyterian Church might even be a one-way. Only because the church people park there on, you know, they're there often. They're there Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, and every day of the week practically. And then on Sunday, they park, you know, in front. But, you know, when you have anything in town or anybody, even if they have something at the church or they park along my street, and many times I can't get out of my driveway, but, you know, I work with that. I live on the corner. But so my suggestion would be to post, you know, no trucks or post something to have it cut down on it before somebody gets hit with a semi. and I don't have to repair any more doors or windows.
Sandra, we're at 10 minutes already, so do you have any, did you say you had something else?
I did, okay. The other thing is that I have noticed the sirens have been less and frequently shorter. However, they're still high in the decimal. And I was just wondering if, with the new fire department and everything, are we getting a new sound system as well with the improvements? Because it's still quite a disruption. It doesn't last as long, and I noticed they've been less since I mentioned it before. But I just wondered if there was anything in the makings that siren would be used for town emergencies only. Tornadoes, floods, fires or something that would affect the whole town.
I'll defer that to the fire chief.
So the siren has to be a certain decimal. It has to reach so far within city limits for the area that it covers, right? We have one here, we have one in the school. It has to reach out so far. So that is not changing at all, period. By ISO, if you guys want lower insurance rates on your homes, I am required to have that for ISO purposes. So that is not going anywhere. However, what I can tell you is that I am working with the company to where it does not go off after 9 p.m. other than a tornado. It takes some programming, it takes money, it takes a lot of things to make that happen. So it just takes time.
Well, we do have a city ordinance that I brought in last time that says that it's not supposed to be run between, I think it is 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. And that's not being adhered to. Okay, so.
Once again, I am working on that. It takes time, it takes money. That has been that way long before I was chief, so.
Well, I didn't want to be negative, I wanted to be positive. I think it has improved greatly. It's still quite a jar when that thing goes off. And I
don't disagree. I mean, I've been working on this for a while, so it's irritating when I like things to get done fairly quickly, so I totally understand what you're saying.
Chief, do you have the money to fix it?
It's, right now, all my money is tied up in this building. So until that is done and all those bills are paid, I'm not spending any extra money on anything outside of that.
Do you have an estimate on what it would take?
About 10, 15,000.
Really? Oh my gosh.
I don't think I've ever seen that ordinance. Has anybody else seen that ordinance?
I picked it up from you, Mayor. They reprinted, you had it printed out and
Yeah,
I
but
picked it up at the.
I don't remember it addressing that
Yes.
siren.
It's a noise ordinance, it's noise ordinance.
There is
not
a noise
siren
ordinance,
ordinance.
but there's,
we are
it's not
exempt
for
from that
that
ordinance.
siren.
You are, yes.
We are 100% exempt from that ordinance. That
Public
is a noise
safety.
ordinance throughout the city, meaning car radios, things like that. That's not
Right.
counted in that siren.
Yeah, that,
Things in people's houses.
yeah. I was gonna say, I don't think I ever saw anything that addressed the siren in particular.
But I can assure you, I truly am working on it. I have been for a while. It's just, unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time. So I
Well, I
get what
did,
you're saying.
I did buy one of those rates that rates the sound level and it is above the rate when it goes off, so.
Sandra, I hate to tell you this, but you bought a house in a neighborhood that's right across from the fire station, right across from the fire department, right across from the post office, one of the busiest streets in Attica. You didn't buy one in a quiet residential neighborhood. I don't know whether you realize that or not, but
No.
that's
and if
kind of
I
where
had
you're
to-
at.
No, but if anybody sells a house on that street, they need to let people know this, because I'm taking a poll of other people as well, and they're not exactly happy with it. But I'm the only one that
Yeah.
comes and says
I
anything, so
know.
it's, but the last thing I have, is there any update on the apartment complex?
Actually, yes, there is. Talked to the builder today, and they are still on track. They're working on some financing. They are waiting on some final engineering drawings to come back. They are on track, as well as the apartment complex in Williamsport, if anybody cares. So they're both moving on. The one in Williamsport, they're actually expanding it. It's going to be larger than what they'd originally planned, with some single family housing. I was asked about that today, so I made that call today. So I'm glad you asked.
Well, what's the time frame? I mean, do we have a time frame?
I think they had originally said fall of this year, but is that, is
Yeah,
that different?
he talked like it's probably gonna be the first of the year before they break ground.
So they haven't signed the deal with the church yet then, if they
I-
did that?
Believe they
I
have,
believe that.
yeah.
I was told last week that they hadn't. That's the only reason I'm saying it.
Well,
Don't matter either way.
I
They still
talked
got
to the
time.
builder today,
Yeah, so they got
and
time.
he laughed when I asked him if it was off the table.
Yeah.
So he said that's far from the truth as can be.
Okay.
All right,
So, yeah,
let's
Thank
move
you.
on. Thank you, Sandra. Before you go, I think Mr. Bowerband had his hand up. Did
Oh,
you
no,
have?
I was just commenting on whether, just to the truck traffic and all, so I'll.
Okay. Okay. Sir, do you have something?
Yeah, hi, my name is Austin Washington. I'm property owner here in Attica. And I'm just trying to get an update from the city council about the mobile homes on the city property at 206 and 202 East Mulberry Street.
They were sent notices last week or the week before that those had to be moved off the property.
Okay.
I don't think they moved yet.
I
But-
don't think they have either, but Kyle Ashton was working on it. I talked to him last week.
So our police department's well aware, they're working on it, they're working with our city attorney, they've been served notice that they have to be moved off the property.
Okay, and my next question is I'd like to schedule a time with Eric to talk about getting a sewer pump and what that would cost. If that would be on the city side or if that would be on property owner side, because I own 4 lots down there on that road, back in the woods. And if I was to build tiny houses there or a new home there, Eric had spoke to an investor that was possibly going to purchase the property from me at one point in time about having the sewer, because it's downhill, having the sewer pump back up if something was built there on that property. So I'm not sure if that would take place on the city side or if that would be on the
That,
landowner side.
you can address that with Eric
Okay.
outside of this meeting, but yeah, I agree, he's the guy to talk to.
Okay, all right, thank you guys.
No, thank you.
Thank you for following up.
Absolutely.
Do we have any other citizens petitions? Okay, none being heard, we'll go ahead and move on. I have committee reports, Attica 200 update. Mr. Bowerband, do you have anything for us tonight?
Real quick, give you an update where we,
Glad to see you out and about, by the
Thank you.
way.
Great to see you, Brent.
back in, not totally robust yet, but moving around, everything's good. Got a good report. on.
Brent, you can sit down if you want to. It's okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna be here for a minute. I'll just do it quick. Where we're at is there is Wednesday night, there is a full update meeting, okay, here in 2 days. And that will be the main thing. If anybody wants to come in and see what's going on, then I don't know how well we have it posted, but it's gonna be, we have, I have action plans across all the different areas of, the 12 presentations in the tent. I have the 3 trade exhibits, brick making, wheat grinding, lime making. We have those. We have also advertisements across the what I'm calling unique unique working models. Okay, like we're gonna have a big auger that will actually grind out, show how they ground logs, in the day and everything, and people can come and take a turn on it. We'll have Nathan has gotten the lion's head out and it's in good shape. We just have to figure out now how to get to check in with you in the last bit, but what do we need to do? But we're gonna have it functioning, so it'll actually be a functioning fountain with water coming out of the mouth of the lion's head, right at the entry point to Heritage Days and to Attica 200. And then the final one is the working canal lock. And on that, I know that one's, everybody's going, that one's a stretch. We have, just yesterday, we got permission from Joe Riley to build it in RMC space in their main building with, logistics and everything else, all that's needed. We will, it's gonna be about 4 feet high and probably about 16 to 20 long, something like that. It will have the ability to, kind of move up and down and all, so people could get in it with their little one and experience what a canal movement would be. But we've had design meetings where we're ready to go on that one. So I'm feeling very good about that one. The, just the biggest issues are just getting, across the tent, there's gonna be a 10 by 30 tent that will have 12 presentations in it, okay? And those presentations go from things like history of Attica, Attica education over 200 years, Bethel, history in the Underground Railroad, Canal Era, Ravine Park, George Hay, commercial history. Tammy Evans and Bella Borst are doing an incredible job. I mean, it's actually really research worthy. They're taking a spiral around, they're taking a whole section of downtown with addresses, and they are year by year adding almost like a helix, with who was there when, what year, 1890, 1900, 1910. And so that will be, I'm not sure how we'll use it exactly, but it certainly will be a huge thing for the city going forward, for the history groups and all that. Then we've got, real quick, we've got Poston Brick. Steve Poston's going to cover Poston and Harrison presentations, and we've got architecture and art being done by Landmarks, Dennis and Bill Gates. Bill Glass, thank you. A little Freudian slip there. Churches, we're gonna work with Pastor Tom Dalvin Bush across the street, Presbyterian Church, to come up with a kind of a history of what has been going on, with churches throughout the years. Then we're gonna have a book table, which would have both some to sell and to look at, maybe some of Shep's, type of things, and some of Jeff's and whatever, just some of the things that are not for sale, but then we also we have some old things that could be for sale. And then the last one, probably one of the trickiest ones, is the what I'm calling Attica Happenings. That's what my mom calls it. And Attica Happenings is supposed to be a table that has major things that happened throughout Attica's history, like the 1886 cyclone. Okay, some pictures and just people aware what happened then. Okay, then the Chautauqua, some stuff just on Chautauqua to say, bam, there was major stuff with Chautauqua. And then we want to move it into the future with things like with what Main Street's doing, okay, with the Dancing in the Streets and the Twilight Music series and things like that. And I'd love to also get in touch with Kyle Nosp and see if there's just, not that they have to do anything because they're doing stuff all the time, but just make it so that it not only is old happenings, but it's also new happenings and where we're going. Okay, so that's where we're going. We're still on course. I am looking at things like backup video to the lock and everything. So we're trying to lay in different paths. And it's been a tricky last 2 weeks, but I think we're still rolling.
Glad to see you here. Glad you're on the mend. Thank you.
Thank you
for all your work.
Hey, Larry, with that being said, we had talked a little bit, and with the fact that Attica was founded 200 years ago, it seems like it's almost appropriate that the city council come up with a resolution that actually acknowledges this and even goes as far as to state that the bicentennial founding of Attica would run between these dates and these dates. Okay, so would we be interested in doing something such as that, and also go as far as to acknowledge that the bicentennial will be featured at Attica Heritage Days down on the river. And
that would be just a proclamation from the mayor, really, I would think.
Well, it's like since it's a bicentennial, I thought that it would be symbolic if all the city council members would actually vote on that and actually have our names on it. And maybe
I think
you're already involved in it, knee deep, So, but I thought that maybe
shows our support.
Absolutely shows our support with what Brent and the Heritage Days people are doing, and that the city of Attica recognizes this.
The one thing that of course is tricky is that 9 years ago we did a sesquicentennial on the founding of the town, the city, okay. And then before, 50 years before that was the very first one, a centennial of the city in 1966. Okay, and those have been going, and there will be another one in 50 years because we buried another time capsule, right? And so that is one that's got people a little bit confused, is the
and that's the reason
founding versus the city. And the city one went on basically because we couldn't get separation from Covington.
Well,
okay.
but the Attica Connect sign says 1825 on it, correct? I mean, it doesn't say 1865; it says 1825, and so I think that because there is kind of like this, different schools of thought, I really felt like the city council should at least take a stance and state that, Attica was founded in 1825, and this is the bicentennial of the founding of Attica. That's what I thought we should take a stance and actually just maybe.
But the way it really worked though was it was not a city till 1866. It was plotted
Yeah.
in 1825.
But it was founded. basically.
Town in 1846
1846.
for town, so,
But then it
nothing
was
town, city.
1866 was when it became a city. That's why.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that the founding, which is basically what it's been stated so far, and I'm just going as far as to say, I think that we should acknowledge it as a city council. I don't know how everybody else feels, but.
I think that solidifies all the work that everybody's putting into this.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, well, I'd like to make a motion that we, the city council will, I guess, how do we say this? That we recognize the founding of Attica as of 1825, and that we would recognize the entire year of 2025 from January 1st until December 31st as being our bicentennial year. And then also recognize the fact that, it would be, the bicentennial spotlight will be at Heritage Days, but yet the bicentennial celebration will still continue after Heritage Days. I don't know, that's a lot. I don't know how to.
I think that's fine. I think you put it very well.
Okay, so I motion that.
Have a motion, have a second, all
I'll
in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Junior council concerns and reports. I know Grace is working on recruiting some new junior council members. I gave her some applications to take out to the school, so I'm anxiously awaiting those. Morgan, you said you talked to the church. Thank you for offering to do that. Do you have anything else?
I can also try and recruit for some junior council members.
Yeah, I think that, I wasn't
kinda-
saying that she should do
yeah.
it on her own. I think that it could be a joint effort, and you guys are out there every day, so you know
Yeah.
who's available and who would be good candidates.
Do you guys hold like an election or anything for the positions, or you
No.
just appoint them?
No,
Cool.
they fill out an application
Yeah.
and
And then we
present
have to have
that.
it's a whole fun process.
Last time we had the same amount of positions as we had applications, so it worked out really
It worked out pretty
well.
good, yeah.
We had a couple of people that didn't show up and only showed up maybe at one meeting. So that was kind of disappointing, but I think overall we had a pretty good core group of people that came to the meeting. So it's time to backfill some of those positions as they graduate. Anything else?
Not that I'm aware.
All right. Thank you, Morgan. Appreciate you being here tonight. Department heads, Mr. Swank.
I do not have anything to report.
Thank you for your hard work with the water
Absolutely.
situation.
Yeah, thanks for getting rid of the river that was going in front of my house last week.
Well, you had water then, huh?
Well, I didn't bring it.
I didn't have water. He told me it might be. I didn't have any water on my side, so. Yeah.
Chief Miller wasn't able to make it tonight. Chief Little, do you have anything?
Yeah, as you see, the building progress is moving forward. They're doing pretty good job. I believe the roof will probably be on in the next few weeks. So it's moving along slowly but surely. The place is a mess and it's driving me nuts, but it'll look very, very nice when it's done. The plan is once it's finished, we'll have an open house so everybody can come see it and have a celebration here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So the other thing that we're working on pretty hot and heavy is recruiting. You're going to start seeing the day shift guys going out to the school, spend an hour, 2 hours out there, kind of hanging out with those guys and see if we can't recruit some of them. You'll start seeing us pretty heavy on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're just going to go all out. So we'll also be making a recruitment video. So
Awesome.
trying to get it going. So we're at what is this, August, and we're at 450 runs already. So we're shooting for 850, 900 easy. So, which is the most we've ever seen, so. So we're moving along, slowly but surely, we'll get there, but, everybody that is currently on the department is doing a fantastic job covering. Make sure you guys have the coverage you need, and, working very hard, and I appreciate every single one of them, so. I know
We
you
do too.
Appreciate your
Yeah,
efforts.
appreciate it.
Chief, who designates when the storm comes through, they set the alarm off? Because I noticed the last two big storms we had, that alarm didn't go off in my area for about 20, 25
Right,
minutes
so
later.
that siren doesn't go off until the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning.
Well, that time it come through here. That's why I was kind of
So,
wondering who designates that to go off.
There was actually one time, not too long ago, what was it, probably
It's
two
last-
storms ago,
yeah, the
I
last
actually set it
two.
off, like they announced a tornado warning, but it
Yes.
never went off, so I can physically go in my office and I can set it
Okay.
off, in which I did.
Okay.
So that's a dispatch deal, that goes along with the programming, and
Okay,
it's,
okay.
it's a mess. You know, sometimes those ladies get overwhelmed and then they just, not that it's right, but they
No.
overlook something and don't hit the right button on their CAD, and so it does set it off, but, yeah. So.
So, Chief, just to follow up on that $10,000 to $15,000 that you're gonna need, is that gonna be included in the fire territory, or is that something you're gonna be coming back to us?
I can't take any funds from the city's general fund. Once we became a territory, that stuff is on us. I mean, there's certain things that I can come for, like the public safety, that kind of things, but as far as dipping into the general fund, if you guys don't own it, then it's not on you, but there's grants out there to get that done
I see.
and everything else, so it's just.
Well, I just didn't know, and I wanted to ask the question, because if you need to have money, then, where does it come from, kind of thing, so.
Do you guys get funding from every run that they make, or how does that, I mean, even non-emergency runs that they go on, or?
Who's that? Who?
The fire department, when you guys go like, a non-emergency ambulance run to pick somebody up?
We don't charge. It's all property tax based. So once we became a territory, what happened is you're already paying in your property taxes. What we did is we just took our cut out separate, so we don't.
Okay.
So the city doesn't have to dip in their general fund and give us our budget. It just automatically goes into our funds.
Okay.
So.
And all three townships pay into that
Yeah, so,
fund, into the fire territory fund through the property taxes. Where it used to be that Attica funded that solely, and then the townships would pay Attica sometimes.
Gotcha.
And it was hard to collect money all the time
Sure.
from every township. I mean, a couple were pretty consistent, but one we fought with because West Point also
Yeah.
covered them.
Yeah.
It's just so much easier this way because it's just
Absolutely.
coming out of their property.
And it ensures everybody pays their fair
Yeah.
share.
It's worked out well. It's benefited us, it's benefited you guys, it's freed up some capital on your end, so it's been a really good thing to happen, so.
That's good.
And because of that, we're funding the new building, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep. no
Thank you,
problem.
Chief. Mrs. Broadwater is at a clerk's conference. Mrs. Hubbard, do you have anything in lieu of
I do.
clerk tonight? Okay. I'm gonna whip through this unfinished business pretty quickly here. We've got several things on the agenda and several people out here waiting. Rental housing inspections, Eric, have we moved forward on that? Do you have any more applications?
I interviewed an individual last Thursday. I have a little further discussion.
Okay, good. Well, that's
about it.
positive.
Yes.
Great. Well, keep us posted on that. Annexation of Harrison Hills and property south. I had a long conversation with one of the property owners south of Attica on 41 this past week. And he asked that we send the annexation paperwork down for him to review and his attorney to review. So I asked Mr. Bars to go ahead and send that out to him. I'm assuming maybe you don't know.
I believe he did,
Okay.
but we are also still playing catch
So
up.
I thought that was a huge step in the right direction.
That's great. Yeah.
That's good news. Had your sales cap on, huh?
I did. No, and this gentleman seems very sincere in wanting to do the right thing and help Attica. And,
That's awesome.
and I think that him and I have a pretty good relationship. And I think that's helping to move forward.
Good job, Mayor.
Good.
Council update on the ambulance relocation progress. I have not heard anything from the elementary school or the school system on the property up there. So that's still kind of on hold. I did put out a note on our Facebook page here last week or the week before regarding that, because there was the rumor mill was starting to turn a little bit, and I wanted to get the facts out there on where we were at with that. I talked to the ambulance director about a week ago, and he told me about some of the problems down there in the existing building, and we talked about how the city can't put $100,000 in that building and then turn around and build a new building. With the grant that we're on track to get, we're still going to be short $300,000 to $400,000, even if the school gives us that property. So $100,000 spent down here could go up there and be spent. So I asked Eric to go over and just do a walkthrough on the building and see what we can do in the meantime. And I won't call it a Band-Aid, but there was a window that was rotted out and several things that needed to be addressed just to make it habitable. And I don't know whether you got over there yet or not.
I've looked at the window situation. I went over there today, and the person that was in there wasn't real familiar with all of the situations, but they were able to show me the window. So I looked at the window. I probably need to set up like a meeting with Garth.
Yeah.
And just personally walk through it with Garth, because I didn't get a lot of information today.
And I don't want them to think that we're ignoring them or we don't care or any of that. But like I said, there were several pictures posted out on social media, and people were saying, well, they should get a grant, they should do this, and we've already done all that. So I put that out on our social media page and told people exactly where we were at, and hopefully that helps calm the storm there a little bit. City cleanup, that's slated for August 15th and 16th, so that's coming up this weekend. October dates have not been determined yet. We will go ahead and have electronics and scrap metal pick up again. That was pretty successful the last couple that we did. And I noticed that the amount of TVs and electronics are starting to dwindle off a little bit. So we're starting to catch up on those and get rid of a lot of them. Football team has stepped up to help again. And right now, I think I have about 5 applications in on my desk for the football team, which is down by about half from what the last one was. And I sent a note to the coach today and told him that they're here, and if they want to stop, pick them up later on this week, they can. I told everybody it's probably going to be Saturday before they pick up, since we got the Jamboree this weekend out here. And encourage everybody to get out and support the Red Ramblers Friday night at the Jamboree. Cindy Mason, do we have anything else on the outdoor recreation or refreshment area?
Well, Ingrid gave us the sample ordinance for the door, and then we have one for West Lafayette.
Okay.
Santa sent one down, and then for Lafayette too, because they started out really small. And with West Side, they limited it like to their certain areas, certain times. So we're gonna go through, Kim and I, and work up something and give it back to Ingrid, where we can pull something together that makes more sense.
Okay. So more to come later?
Please?
More to come later?
More to come later.
Okay.
Plus, when I was talking to the gals at the West Side, they were saying that, you know, you can have the ordinance, but for the state to approve it, she said, it takes forever. She said, you're not gonna get it this year. You know, if you're trying to work for it for Heritage Days, that's not gonna happen.
Okay.
So Kim and I have decided that we're gonna meet hopefully this week or maybe next. But thanks, Ingrid, for getting yours to us.
Riverfront Kids Park, that equipment has been approved by the park board and ordered. We were able to get it from a Indiana company rather than the company out of Ohio. We got a pretty sizable discount, and that discount includes installation where the company out of Ohio was going to charge us $40,000 plus to install it. It just kind of put it way out of reach. So this is a turnkey operation. The park board made a couple of switches in the equipment that they thought would fit better. And I got that quote back, got that order sent in, and it's going to be 12 to 14 weeks before it gets here, but we're on track to make that happen, and I'm really happy about that.
Larry, while we're talking about that, any update on the time blocks for the restrooms and such? I was down there Sunday at about 10 a.m. and somebody was trying to get in and unable to get in them. We got any updates on those?
No, I know, Eric, I sent that information to you, Eric, for those timed locks, and you were going to
Do some research.
do some more research,
No, I do not have.
but we have not ordered them yet.
We're going to have playground equipment. We're going to need somewhere to go, or they'll find the closest spot.
Well, I know a building down there that they can, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know.
I'm kidding.
I know. I just, like I say, if we're going to do it, we need.
Yeah,
they'll
no,
need
I
access.
agree.
Larry, in terms of the riverfront there, it seems to me like the Parks Board, they're the ones that kind of take care of that down there, right? But it seems like that's going to be a new area of growth for the city. And does it make sense to appoint one, like a point person with Parks Department to deal with all riverfront type items? Would somebody be willing to step up and deal with that? Because we're having all these things kind of come up. It's like, we have the locks and kayaks, and we have a lot of stuff. And it seems to me like we're kind of a little discombobulated a little bit with the riverfront there. And is it something that we could pursue with the Parks Department to get a point person that could come in and talk like all encompassing, with the riverfront? I don't know if it's time to do that or not.
Are you saying like to break that away from the park board and have a separate or somebody
keep
just
it
on
with-
the park board?
no, keep it with
I
the
think
park
he's saying
board.
have a representative from the park board come to our meetings where they can keep us abreast of
Yeah,
anything
because
that's
it's
going on.
it's kind of like this. It's like, as soon as Eric leaves here, he's picking up phone calls and he's answering them because a million things are breaking out there, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to have somebody that's focused on the park, the park, or the riverfront itself, and actually kind of help push that agenda forward. And I think it should come from the Parks Board if they would be willing to take that on. But we're always talking about stuff, and we talked about the dog park, we talked about the playground equipment, things like that. And here, Jimmy Jimmy asked me the question. He's like, how can we put playground equipment down there when we can't even get the bathrooms open? So it's kind of like is there a way-
Playground equipment's 12 to 14 weeks out. So
we got some time.
I'm not worried about the time blocks
Okay.
right this moment, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got other stuff that goes on.
Oh,
down
I
there too,
know. I know.
The camping guys are there, and I'm sure.
And
they're
then
just fine.
and we're not leaving them locked all the time, right? I mean, they do get unlocked.
They've been locked.
Yeah,
Unless
nobody.
somebody reserves for camping.
Right, but if there's people down there camping,
Or
they're
fishing,
unlocked, right?
I mean, they're gonna go right there on the edge of the water. I mean,
It'd be really nice to have somebody that made that their focus.
Well, we years ago we used to have a person that went around and that's all they did was clean the restrooms, lock and unlock them every day. It was a retired person here in town, and they did that like up in Ravine Park for years, and they were kind of in charge of the restrooms, if you will, and that worked out well. But when they did away with the public restrooms there was another building up there in Ravine Park that was torn down years ago, and I think that's probably when that position went away. But no, I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
I just know, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people go down there in the evenings to see the wildlife and such,
Yeah.
sanctuary and other stuff, and I just know there's no availability for
Yeah.
it.
And actually, if we could kind of push a little power their way, that person that could kind of head that up, they could have a little bit of power, to kind of make some decisions, to get in contact with Eric or to get in contact with Garrett, and somebody that really knows what's going on.
The park board actually has quite a bit of statutory power,
Yeah,
if you will. I mean,
yeah,
if you get on and read what their powers are, they don't have to ask us for a lot of things. They can just do it, especially if it's in their budget.
Yeah.
So,
but a lot of those people also though are kind of like predisposed to not be, doing enforcement kind of things. Their personalities kind of aren't really driven that way from what I saw in the park board meetings. So I don't know. It's just a thought. We don't have to solve it tonight, but if.
No, I don't think that's a bad question at all. All right.
Got a question on the restroom deal about the parks?
Yeah.
I know the other one you were talking about was down on the very corner.
Yeah.
Very bottom, which was a block building. Could
Yeah.
you put up like just a post deal, like you see in all other parks where you can just walk in, no door, but it's secluded, where you have to walk around the corner, you know, to get out of sight, and then have men's side, women's side. And
Like back down there, you mean?
yeah, where you don't have a door, you got to lock or unlock it, you know, people can still get in there. I mean, we got the drug deal going on, another issue too.
Yeah.
Could you state your name, sir?
Scott Building.
Okay. Get that documented.
I like that suggestion.
That's, I've seen other parks, you know, there's no doors to enter, to go back to the bathroom. You just gotta
You
walk
go
down
to
the
these
hallway,
state
turn around
parks, that's the
another,
way
come
they are.
back.
Yeah.
Put your stalls there, there's no, you know, if you're after somebody, they ain't got nowhere to go. Ain't no stuff to get into.
Dog park. I referred that to the park board. They still suggest that we put it down at the riverfront where HWC originally proposed to put it. And that was just the other night. So I haven't dug out the drawings from HWC to see exactly where and what size that was going to be. We're on a pretty limited budget with that at about $15,000. So I don't know how far that's going to take us as far as fencing, but I thought I'd go out and at least once I get the size, I'll get 2 quotes for the fencing and see where that takes us.
Could I ask a question about that?
Yes, Teal?
Okay, I'm Teal Briles. I don't know what all's going on with that, but is that dog park gonna be like a dog park that's in the city, or is this a dog park that's a free-for-all for anybody that comes through town? Because in the city, when they have a dog park, because they don't have all the green space that we have, they require you to register your dog. You are required to provide the papers that dog has been wormed and treated and has its inoculate, all that, vaccines, whatever. Otherwise, my friends all say, I wouldn't take my dog to a park where you didn't have a code to get in, and that was for your, because they don't want their dogs running in places where other dogs have contaminated it. So it requires somebody on staff that's gonna have to be here at the city building to do all of that paperwork and registration.
That actually hasn't come up.
Well, somebody put some thought into it.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
It's
at all, yeah.
It's a great idea.
That's a good idea, because I know Lafayette, you had to do all the stuff. And to have puppies down there before they've been vaccinated is a bad idea, because that's when parvo spreads. And once the ground is contaminated with parvo, it takes 10 years for it to be out of the ground and out of that area. So you do not want that down there. So it does need to be somehow a locked facility, so that you have to have some kind of key or something to get in.
You have a code, they give you a code.
Yeah.
You register your animal and want to use it.
Show that
However-
you've got vaccinations.
Vaccinations and everything.
However, we have tons of parks in Attica and tons of green space, and most people have big yards. So I know that from being on the pickleball association, that we have been helping to try to maintain the city parks. Like we did the McDonald Park last year before Heritage. We do that. We pick up the trash every day when we go. We pick up sticks. We clean the courts off. We've actually mowed down at Ravine Park already. We've already weed eated, trying to maintain those things. And I'm thinking, here's another park that we're gonna have to maintain. And I'm thinking, we have a ton of parks in Attica that aren't used, that people can take their animal to. I mean, in my opinion, I don't understand why a small town that
This was
has all
something that was near and dear to some.
Ms. Browse, if I
folks' heart.
could, there are people that love pickleball and there are people that really love their pets, and so each one of those areas have a designated space in the city, or that's what we've been asked to do is designate those spaces. So, but I do think you have some.
But you have to make it safe.
Right, and I agree.
would say,
I think
we
it's
won't
great.
Take our dog there. if
Right,
that's
I
the
think
way
that
it's
what
gonna
you
be.
brought up has been great, and it's great food for thought, and I think that Larry's gonna give that to the park board to really chew on it, you know.
And that's
so
just
to
gonna
speak.
be more expense is what I'm saying. And I know that the city is strapped already in terms of enough manpower to maintain all the parks that we have. So I think and you're adding another one now at the riverfront. So when you stop and think about it, I mean, parks are great, but you need to maintain them and keep them nice for people that are using them. And if we just keep adding them, you know, it's better to have less and have more
Take
in
care
one
of it,
park
yeah.
than it is to have more parks.
I think, and I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but as Johnny said, there are people that are just as much or more passionate about this dog park as there are the pickleball people. The only thing, they haven't stepped up to the plate like the pickleball folks did. I mean, I really didn't have to do much on the pickleball, other than sign the paperwork, say it's okay. Nobody's grabbed that ball and ran with it like you guys did,
You guys did a great
with the
job with
pickleball. And I can't say enough good things about how that went down and how much everybody pitched in and made that happen without a lot of effort from the city's part.
Well, and Larry, we don't have to open that dog park until we're satisfied with, you know, what it's gonna be and how it's managed, right?
That's what
I'm just-
saying, is it's
I'm just
gonna be
looking at-
maintenance on that park, and you know, you've gotta do that daily with the dog park.
I'm looking at Lafayette just because I didn't know of any other ones. I just looking at Lafayette. Lafayette, actually, it's a membership fee.
Yeah.
So they have to pay per year, which I think it's a little high, but I don't know. And there's up to 3 dogs is with that. I looked at their rules, and their rules are pretty, like, there's no kids allowed under the age of like 15 that are allowed to be in the dog park.
Oh, that's actually very smart.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Great idea. There's no food allowed. Also, things I would not have thought of as a dog. I'm not a dog owner. That makes complete sense to me. So there's a lot of things I think that we need to.
Yeah, so clearly, Larry, I think that what Haley found, we should give that to the Parks Board and say, hey,
Absolutely.
listen,
Yeah.
we need you guys to really scrub this and look at it. And then if we could get some civic-minded dog owners, they could do the same thing as the pickleball folks. I think that then we've got the ability to maybe move forward.
Well, you don't wanna just fence a space and call it a dog park.
Right.
Because it's gonna
Right.
require a lot more.
There's more to it than
There's
just
more to
fencing
it.
it in.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, that and there needs to be 2 sections, one for small dogs and one for big dogs, because that's the way it's for, in Lafayette, that at the same park, if you're looking at, I think it's called Shamrock,
There's a couple.
they have 2 sections. They've got a bigger fence area for the big dogs, and they've got one that's a little bit shorter, maybe 4 or 5 foot.
It does say
for the
that there.
small dogs.
This one's. It says it features 4 different areas for sizes.
I mean, I hadn't even thought of all these things till.
I'm glad you brought it up.
No, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah,
'cause
I'm
I
glad you brought it
Me
up.
neither.
I'm not
Thank
saying
you.
we don't, places don't, I mean, in my mind, I think that dog parks are for the city, where there's lots of concrete and no green space.
Yeah.
But in a
Right.
city
But we're
of
soon
Attica,
gonna have apartments that they're gonna need places to have their dogs to.
but they can take them down to Ravine Park. I mean, we have a lot of parks.
There's a lot of places where you can.
And I think-
A dog
walk
park,
your
they can
dog.
run without a leash. In a city park, they got to be on a leash.
Right.
That's true. That's probably the defining
Big reason for a
difference.
dog park.
That's
true.
Yeah.
Although
So I'm glad you brought up all those things because I think this is something that we're all going to have
I'm
to
just
look at.
thinking financially, have you thought of all of the things that you need to consider when doing that type?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Denise, is this something you could take to the park board?
Yeah, next park board meeting, I'll let them know.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We need to move on if we can here. The next part of old business is resolution confirming boards and commissions. And, we need to get that moving. There's still, I reviewed that document several times. There's still a few problems with it. I did fill the position on the redevelopment commission this past week that Brian Kraft had opened up when he resigned. Sharon Nagel has agreed to take that spot. I think she'll serve very well in that position. But do we have a motion to go ahead and approve that resolution?
Larry, I actually have a comment on that if I could.
Sure.
So that was the first time I saw that, and I looked it over, and I didn't know all of the different boards and different things that we had. I had an idea, and I didn't know who was on them. But one of the things that I noticed that was just glaring to me is that there are certain people that over time have collected board positions, and some people have as many as 5 board positions in the city. And, I'm sure that they're doing a good job, but the problem I see is that there is a consolidation of decision-making, and also it's also where maybe it can get stagnant when you have the same people holding so many positions. And I personally, as a council member, would like to see those board positions surrendered by people that have so many board positions to allow other people in the city to participate. Because I think that we're better if we have new and additional people participating in these positions. So, this is just my opinion, but it's something that when I was looking at this, it's just clear to me, there's too much power and the power is consolidated, and it needs to be broke up, I think.
Well, you get into a small community. It's also people stepping up.
A lot of the problem too, and we've discussed it before, but Democratic Party does not have as many representatives as the Republican Party does. And a lot of these boards require to have a certain amount of Democrats and a certain amount of Republicans. Well, there's not very many Democrats to put on a lot of boards. And I have friends that are Democrats. I'd be glad for anybody to step forward and say, please, I'd like to be on the board. But that's really what I faced as a mayor, is getting anybody from those parties. If you look at our boards and the way they were probably originally supposed to be set, they're probably not even equal on Democrats and Republicans, but they're supposed to be, because they can't be, because we don't have people to do it. But that was what I dealt with. And that's how you end up with.
Is that a state law that certain boards have to have a certain percentage, or should the percentages follow in line with the amount of Democrats?
No, that's a state law.
Versus Republican.
One that has the call out, like if it says that's a party, if it's in that section, that's coming straight from a statute. And I cited the statute if there is that requirement in the statute, if you want to go look at it, but it's usually equal. Sometimes you can use an independent depending on how many members are on the board. That's also a possibility from time to time. But generally it does need to be equal Republican Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So like if there's 5, then it would be 2, and you could have an independent if you had a bunch of those in the city instead of Republicans.
Okay, but there's a lot of there's still number-wise, there's hundreds of Democrats in.
There is?
Not in Attica.
I think I saw that on the voter poll, the registered Democrats, there's hundreds.
And you might check and see how many of them actually voted too, because you find out different things then too.
Well, more than anything, they need to step up and actually.
Well,
But how do we publish it and make it available?
Let me say this. Johnny sent the same thing out in an email shortly after the last meeting. And I thought I addressed it fairly well in my response. And I know Dwayne came back. So this isn't the first time we've all heard this. But since you brought it up in a public meeting, I'll go ahead and reiterate what I said. And in a nutshell, what I said was, number one, they have to be a Democrat. Number two, they have to be willing. But just because they're willing and they're Democrat doesn't necessarily mean that I want to put them I want to appoint them to a board of any kind.
Yeah, but you got to start somewhere, right? Because
I am not going to appoint somebody to a board just because they're a Democrat and they're willing to serve.
Okay,
That
I
is not
understand
the only criteria to appoint someone to a board. You need to have people, number one, that can get along with everybody else on the board and work together. That's a big one. Number two, they need to have the experience and the wherewithal to serve on that board. I think you alluded to me at one time that some of the people that were on the boards maybe shouldn't be on boards. And there are people that probably shouldn't be on boards. So you don't want to appoint those people to a board and then get, what is it they say? You get out what you put in. And if you put in something that's not a quality product, you're going to get not a quality product back. I'll just say that.
Okay, but would you agree, Mayor, that we're at a point, okay, where if some of these people that are holding 5 positions, okay, 4 positions, whatever it is, and if they're carrying any age to them whatsoever, and there's a hiccup, okay, they go
It's gonna
down.
be very tough.
They go down. Now what do?
It's gonna
You
be
don't
very
have
tough.
any feed. You don't have your farm system in place where you're growing your talent and you're bringing them in. So it's a double-edged sword here. And I agree with you.
And I
but-
told you in my email that if you bring me some Democrats that are willing and able to serve, I would consider putting them on a board.
I just will also say this. I think that it's important, like what Larry's saying, but I think it's important to know we're not talking about somebody that is, lived here 10 or 15 years. We're talking, I'm going to say it because I think it's important for people out there watching to know. We're talking about Cindy Mason. We are talking about somebody that has lived her life here the entire time.
But we're not talking about just Cindy. There are people that hold, 2, 3 other board positions. And I personally think that if you hold 2 board positions, that's enough. Okay, let somebody else step up and be civic and be a part of it. Okay, I mean, when you have somebody holding that many positions, and I'm going to tell you, I mean, if something happens, you've got a hole there. Okay, and you got to replace it. And how do you do it?
All of those meetings
I
are
think we're all
public
in agreement.
meetings. All of those meetings are public meetings, and if you were to come to those meetings, no one comes. They're out there. They're put out there. They're online. No one comes. So that's our other problem. Is I don't disagree with you to have people involved. I think it's super important, and I also think it's super important. I think everybody will hear me when I say we need a younger generation involved, because I'm literally the youngest person up here, and I'm not knocking anybody, but this is that I'm getting old. Like, I'm getting older, and I think that it's important that we get those people that we want to stay in the community and grow the community. We want those people here. People like Morgan that are taking, a good interest in it. We need people like you, Morgan, so don't leave us.
We scared everybody else off, but we still got more.
Yes. No, and I don't mean that like negative toward
I
anybody.
think we could
It's just-
debate this all night. I don't think anybody disagrees with you,
Okay.
but I think that
But
you
we're
don't
talking
understand the
but we're-
difficulty
But
of.
we're talking about the topic at hand, and so if it was a different topic, I wouldn't bring it up at all. But I think it's actually almost a desperate measure when we have some, and I'm not saying that person's not doing a wonderful job and has her heart in it, okay? What I'm concerned with is that when something happens and you have this enormous hole, and then we're all sitting around scratching our head, it's like, well, we don't have any Democrats to fill this, so what do we do? I mean, I think that that if it's, and I don't think that we should look to put someone in a board position for more than 2 seats. It's just, and if we're not doing that, then it's broken. Our thought processes are broken because we're not doing what we need to get the people to the table to be a part of it. Okay, because it's a lot easier just to rely on somebody that's always been there. Okay, and that's all I'm I'm not trying to create problems. I'm just trying to address it. This issue.
Okay.
I'd
Point
like to see
taken.
people on there that have passion for it. I mean, if somebody wants to step up, then they can step up and educate themselves, but changing somebody out just for the sake of the change, I don't know if I'd agree with. We need, if people want to get involved, they are more than welcome. to get
Anybody
involved.
watching online, if you are a registered Democrat and would love to join, even a Republican
Well, yeah.
or anybody, we would love to
Yes.
see you at public meetings. We would love, if you want to get involved with any of our meetings, they are posted online. They are on the app. I check the app almost every day to make sure I'm not missing something. We would love to see you there.
Kaylee's bringing cookies.
I will make cookies. I will. Or
Okay,
yes.
Pizza, see?
Yes.
Now we're
Well,
talking.
pizza's pushing it,
Guys,
but
we need to get back on track here if we possibly can.
Could
Uh,
I just
Yes,
say something?
Cindy Mason.
Cindy Mason. I started with Fred Evans. When I look up there of all the mayors, Kenny Freed was a neighbor. Fred Evans, when I owned a business in town and was very active in the downtown, and we had a rodeo downtown, we had a bank robbery downtown that we put on. And Stan Evans was mayor, and Bob Moss drove the hearse, it was
Remember.
just a lot of fun. So I've always been involved. I ran for the city council, and I was actually the first woman that actually won.
And guess who she beat, by the way?
my friend.
At least you got one friend, Larry.
That was under Avis Hensley. And then I've always been, Attica's been very special to me, and I care deeply about it. And I've had positions where I think I have some talents that I can bring. I've got some organizational skills. I was in charge of a multi-million-dollar operation. I was a business owner. And you're right, though, Johnny, I am involved in a lot of things.
And it's wonderful, it's wonderful.
And I also came, Mr. Long was godparent to my youngest daughter. Butch Swift was a classmate, and I came to him and said, you have to have a park program. It has to be free and open to every kid. And Butch says, we don't have any money. And I said, in my position, I've got money. And so that's how our first free program in the park came about. And our first director of that was a student out of Purdue University that was getting their PhD in park management. The second year, it was a place kicker from Purdue. And then but didn't realize how long ago that was. And then Butch said, hey, Cindy, this is a good program. We're going to dedicate the income from the tower to the park program. And that's how it's been able to sustain. So I did my thing and I backed off. And I wasn't, at that time, I couldn't be on the council because I had a state job and it would be interfering with the Hatch Act. So I had to quit. But, we put the bridges because I was also involved. And you're right, I'm involved in a lot of things, but I was involved in Rotary. We put the bridges in the lower Ravine Park. We paid for a lot of those. I think Eric's team did that, but the Rotary brought in the first bridge, the second bridge, and then we were able to put all those bridges in. And then comes Bob Shepherd, and we decided they had the planning meeting back in 2015 of what does the community need? We need this and this and this, and we need more money. We need more money for the city government. How are we going to get that? And it was like, okay, food and beverage. Well, why don't we have food and beverage? So Cindy went around to every business owner that served food and beverages. And we took it down to the state and Sharon presented it. And now you guys have food and beverage income. That was also part of the team, because it wasn't just me, it was a team that we did with, we need the TIF area. We can benefit, Attica can benefit from the TIF area. And that came in and Dwayne, and it's just been a combination. I said to Larry, I'll help you any way that I can because I care about the community.
And Cindy she went to the State House and talked about the TIF and about the food and beverage tax both. And she was instrumental in the city getting it. So.
Can I just, one quick statement? I actually put in a request to meet with Governor Braun. He came back and asked me for an agenda. I said, my agenda is a concerned citizen of Attica because of all things that you have done before and what I've benefited from with living here. But then they came back and wanted to know, do I have any people that want to accompany me? That's where I got the last thing. So I'm opening it up. Anybody want to go visit Governor Braun with me? Because I am I want to go and advocate for Attica because he came and he did a whole presentation. He had a whole campaign speech. And I want him to make good on his campaign speech. So I may not be the right one to talk because I'm very compassionate and I'm very, very excited about it all my life. So anyway, I'm just going to let you know so somebody can let me know. I live in that White House across the street.
Thank
Want to
you.
go see the governor.
Thank you, Sandra.
Okay.
Okay.
I also want to just say one quick thing. I'm also involved in the Community Foundation. But one of my goals has been to get younger people involved. So I hear what you're saying. And so, that's been a goal of getting those people on the foundation. And we've been able to do that. And when you compare our foundation with the other ones in the three of us in the county, we probably have one of the youngest community foundations, because yes, I want them to be involved, and I want to see it follow through.
Well, that's great.
So I
It's just
don't
my
understand.
opinion is we just don't have those relievers. The relievers are not in the bullpen ready to go. And we're not seeing them. And that's the only point I'm making. And the only reason it came up is because it was on this commissions and board thing, right?
You can
And,
see them.
yeah. Yeah, but it's wonderful what you're doing, Cindy. There's not gonna be a single person argue with you with what you've done. Amazing. The wheel turns here because of you.
Well, but
Okay.
you said there's too much power, and I never looked at it as power.
It's not, it's consolidated. It's consolidated is what it is.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, John.
Well, I just, the point I'm trying to make is just looking to get more people civically involved.
I will point out, though, that one of our park board members, our current park board members, used to sit at that table right there. So one of our junior councilmen is now serving on our park board, even though
Eli.
Yeah, Eli was one of our very first junior councilmen, and he's moved up to that. So hopefully this young lady can move up into one of those spots
Yeah, more
when
you
she's
can do what
ready.
Cindy does, can't you? You can learn that.
And
Cindy will help
so
her along.
there's your farm league right there.
It depends on if she's an R or a D though, because.
Yeah. Okay. We gotta move on, folks.
Are we doing
Can we-
anything with that then? Are
We
passing?
need to. By law, we have to have it, right?
Yes, I mean, it should have been done. I will also say, just quick note from legal, the other nice thing about this is I think it helps fix the term limits or makes it easier to see what the term limits are because all the boards have different terms.
No idea, yeah.
And now we're on, if we can get
I had
everybody
no
onto a
idea.
staggered term system, God forbid something were to happen, then hopefully that kind of softens the blow a little bit because we will have people that are knowledgeable moving in on a fairly regular basis.
Kind of like what we did with the council with the last election and things.
Dwayne kind of started that document and I found it in the computer, but it had a lot of holes in it and I tried to fill in.
When
some
I
of the-
inherited it, there were people that were dead on it, you know?
Yeah. So Dwayne improved it, I improved it, and now I think we're kind of getting to a point where it's a pretty solid document. There's still some things that need to be repaired, but we're moving forward.
Larry, one other thing I'd like to say is that since you mentioned that you added somebody new to the redevelopment commission,
Mhm.
is there a chance we could get some new names? Really, I mean, new names, not old names that have been floating around, that have been on other boards, that have had different levels of success and then being reapplied. Could we get some new people?
Again. Tell me.
We didn't even know you were doing it. I mean, if I didn't know you were adding somebody, then how would everybody else know?
It was my position to fill. It wasn't the council's.
Okay, then we can't tell you if we don't know.
I mean, Denise Routzen is a good example. She shows up at every city meeting. Sometimes I tell Denise she knows more about what's going on in the city sometimes
She
than
does.
I do.
And she's got two
And-
positions, right?
and-
You have two board positions now?
2 within the city, and then I've got Attica ranking, so I've got.
You got three.
Attica
So I think
ranking
she
is
should-
not
Because
an
Attica
it's
ranking
not
is a
a
private city.
Yeah,
yeah.
but
that's private.
having two positions on boards, I think that's enough.
But
And
again, we need people to come and show up at these meetings and volunteer. I'm not going to go out and go to the football game and go up and say, hey, you want to be on a board? It's not really how it works. You need to have people that are interested and going to show up.
well, no, you're just picking up your phone, calling people and say, hey, you want to be on the board?
Because in the same sense, you don't want to just put new people on just for the sake of putting new people on. They don't have any quality they're bringing to the table or anything.
And that's, with
No background.
with Sharon, for instance, she's a former state representative. She brings a lot to the table. She's a certified grant writer. She brings a lot. She's a business owner. She brings a lot to the table in experience, not just by virtue of being.
But again, what's her age? I mean, I'm not trying to fault that, but it'd be great to get some younger people in here. You're going to have to take some chances.
That's what I'm saying. Right here. There's our farm league right here. We got to move on, guys. We can't sit here. We could debate this all night long.
Okay.
I'll make a motion
Have a motion to confirm. Have a second.
Sorry, I'm on resolution 2025-811. Is it 8? 8
811.
811A.
Yep.
A motion, a second.
Wait,
All in
what-
favor?
Did we get the updated copy of that? That one,
I thought that was.
we
the
don't even
updated
have an
version.
updated copy, do we?
We don't have an updated copy with Brian or Sharon Nagel's name on it, but you can pass it
Oh,
as
I thought that's
amended.
what this one was.
I mean, I just remember.
I mean, I haven't even seen.
You're,
the
you're not
updated
really, you're not really affirming any one person who's on this. You're just affirming the document for the list of or numbers, how long, that sort of thing. That's gonna change, and we're not gonna come back and affirm it every time somebody else gets put on a board.
We're approving the process.
You're
we don't-
approving the
Do we
process,
have,
thank
do we
you.
have the updated document though? Because I don't think.
No, because I just heard Sharon Nagel's name tonight, so I need to update.
But it's updated without her on it.
But have we seen it though? That's the updated
I sent it
document.
out. I know you did too.
When was that?
We have a
sent out?
motion and a second. All in favor?
I'm not, because I don't know what it is.
Okay, you don't have to.
Yeah, who's second?
We're gonna be here all night if
Who-
you
who
keep
seconded-
this up.
Who seconded the motion?
I did.
I
Wait,
apologize.
I'm sorry, Larry, if I keep up what? I'm sorry?
If you keep drawing this
If I,
out, we're gonna
if I
be here
bring up things
all
that are
night.
concerning to the city of Attica,
Johnny, we passed it. We can talk later.
okay, can you give me a copy of that document that we just passed?
Which one did we pass?
This,
Well,
we
I
don't
mean,
have it, it's not here.
It's the.
You have it. My God, how many times has it
Is
been
the one
sent
she-
out?
The one that she threw it out tonight though?
You just said that it has been updated and I'm
It
asking.
was updated with Sharon Nagel.
Okay,
That's it.
yeah.
That's it. That's the only changes. And she said we could pass it with the up as amended. You can't beat stuff to death all night long, guys. I apologize, but we can't be
Well, let's
here.
just keep things the way they are, Larry. then.
Okay, let's
just
do
keep it the
that,
way it
Johnny.
is, yeah. Let's just keep it the way it is.
I apologize to Paws and Claws. I invited them here and I've kept you here probably a lot longer than you wanted to be. Under new business, cats running at large, and we've received lots and lots of complaints about cats, the numbers of them. I had one guy come into my office the other day, said he's feeding his neighbors cats. Huh?
It was 15.
15 of them.
So, and where's this at, these 15 cats?
Somewhere around out Harrison Steel
Okay.
way.
That one.
No, I'm sorry. This was on North Perry Street. The 15 were on North Perry Street. The lady who was feeding several hundred pounds of cat food each month was out toward Harrison Steel.
Okay.
So we're in a situation now where Paws and Claws will take one cat at a time if it's in a trap. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
And they will spay or neuter that cat and it'll be returned back to where it came from.
Correct.
And when we talked on the phone the other day, one cat at a time is not cutting this situation.
I'd
hardly
say
at
there
all.
are huge bands of them all over town.
Well, where are they at?
How much do we pay Paws and Claws?
We
each
paid
year?
them $35,000 for this year.
And what?
And how
what
many
do-
cats have you taken in from Attica?
I'll have to go and do numbers because we offer the TNR program for Attica and Fountain County, like outside of Attica. So for Attica right now, I don't have that number.
Attica's actually, do you realize Attica residents are paying Paws and Claws twice? Do you know that? We I am being
Right.
taxed here as an
Right.
Attica citizen, I'm paying it, and then as a Fountain County citizen, I'm also paying it.
Right.
And
We discussed this in the meeting before when we went through all this. So with the TNR program, it's pretty much up to the resident to track the cat and then call out to the shelter and make an appointment. We can do up to 6 cats on a Monday. But I'm already booked out until the end of September. We stop at the end of October because we did it last year and people were trapping the cats and bringing them and their paws were frozen because they're leaving them in the traps too long. So we had to stop at the end of October because me picking up cats or getting cats with paws frozen, ears frozen, being in a trap for 3 or 4 days just was not happening. That's cruelty. So for Attica, yes, Attica's overrated, especially Harrison Steel, and then right down here. That's where a lot of our cats that are coming in on Mondays are from. The lady you're talking about for Harrison Steel, I have helped her personally with cat food just so I know they're fed. And she's came out and been able to do that. However, there are grants for spay and neuter. The city of Attica would have to file for a spay and neuter grant. And if we can approve that and get that going, as it costs us $50 for a female, $25 for a male. Males are super easy. You can lay them out, get them done, you're out the door. It's the females, and I'm sorry guys, it's the females that take a little longer. So that's taking the doctors at least 2 to 3 hours, depending on how many cats. Today I had 8 cats in there from different areas. 2 of them were Attica. The rest of them were county. What we can do is if you guys can get that grant, then myself and my 2 doctors have agreed that we'll take a Saturday out. The only issue is going to be is live traps. They have to be in a live trap, 1 per trap, and we would have to have a place where I can put them in my vehicle, well, the van, for Paul and Paul's van, and be able to take them to the clinic, and that's gonna be like an all-day process. If we did 20 females, and however many males we can get caught, we can get that done. That'll help with the colonies, because 1 cat has up to 6 kittens. Well, they can start having babies at 6 months old. So then we have more babies and more babies, and it just is not stopping the process.
Does Purdue still have the clinic that they can bring down?
The
spay neuter
P4P clinic,
Yes. Do they
they
still
do
have
not
that?
come, they don't come down here anymore. They strictly stay up there with the students.
Well, I'm afraid we got an epidemic kind of coming up. We need to figure something out with these animals.
Well, they're feral. They bite, so that's why 3 years ago, the shelter quit taking them in because we were having multiple bites with my staff, constantly biting and,
I've got
you
a
know,
bunch of
chunks
them
being
that's
taken out,
business.
ER pays, and that's under my staff, so we have to pay for that through our insurance. So we quit taking them in because of that. You put them in a kennel to get them out to clean and feed, you get bit. So that's why the TNR is there, so they're fixed, but they are released back out.
So for the $35,000 Attica does pay, what does that go to from our city that you're doing that's worth $35,000 to us?
That is,
I'm just trying to figure out how we get rid of our cats.
Right,
We're gonna have
I
to figure
get
a
it.
way to.
it's surrenders, if anybody here in town has to surrender an animal that's strays, if a dog is running at large, if there's a dog bite, if there's a hoarding case, neglect case, I go out and get them and take them to the shelter. If there's, a dog bite and then they go out there for 10 days.
Do you have any idea how often this is, like weekly?
Well, I just removed 3 animals from Attica today and they were dogs for being in.
So is that weekly or is that just a day? I'm just trying to get a ballpark figure of what we're paying and what we're getting as a city, or do we need to look at an alternative as far as, we used to have a dog catcher a long time ago and that's a pain and we don't want to go back to it, but
Right.
do
So
we
then
need
you
to
guys
figure
are paying
something
for
else
animal
out?
Control also.
Right,
To, come out and do it, which is myself.
right.
And I've, been to classes and have all the certificates, but it's weekly. I guess it really just depends, honestly, on what, like 3 today, 3 dogs that were in a situation. Now tomorrow or the rest of the week, I may not have anything for Attica.
Cause I can remember a time when you come and get raccoons or anything else if we had them. And
Right,
now
and
we're down to is it just
We're
dogs?
yeah.
Basically?
Right, well, I'd say current measures seem to be inadequate for what we got.
Right.
We're gonna have to figure something, I'd prefer it to be a humane thing, because I love animals. And
Yep.
you can't blame these animals for what people are doing to them.
No.
But we need to get on top of this, because it's just gonna get worse. I've seen cats around my place of business have litters every
Well,
summer.
is feeding the cats, for lack of a better term, fueling the fire?
Yes.
I
It
mean,
sure is, because they know that there's food there and that's where they're gonna go all the time. So then you end up with colony after colony right in that area. If you don't feed them and you remove your food, they're gonna go somewhere else. And they're gonna know that they've gotta go hunt for that food rather than come to your house.
Well, I haven't been at the store for about a year, but I'm sure there's still a problem there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and it's the dumpsters too there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's vendors or something that's,
And
you know, they're
those
throwing.
cats kind of had a
There's more
purpose.
buzzards there
They
now.
kind of had a nice and stuff.
Yeah.
Lumberyard.
I say if you're feeding them though, you should be responsible to help taking care of them. If that means getting them fixed, then that person that's feeding them should be kind of responsible to help
So that-
getting them to you or wherever they need to
And
go.
with you saying that, that's where I butt heads a lot with the community, is because it's a 2 week. If you've been feeding this animal for 2 weeks, it is considered your animal. Well, no, it's not. I'm feeding it because I don't want it to starve. You're taking care of it. It is
You
your
accept
possession now.
responsibility for it.
It's yours.
well, and our city ordinance prohibits cats and dogs from running at large.
They are not to be off of a leash.
Yes.
I'm making sure that people at home are hearing this because that is an ordinance. This is not something this is not just recently passed. This has been something that's out there. So if you're letting your cat out, it is not to be out of a fenced in area or your dog. I don't think that people realize that.
And then that's where your tickets come in. If
Yep.
the dog is large.
Mhm.
Would registration and chipping them be an option that may kind of separate the sheep from the goats? I mean, do we got to go to that kind of?
I know at one time they picked some up at the store and spayed and neutered and brought them back.
Yes.
But they are good at keeping mice away. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
they
say
kind of had a
that.
job, didn't they? Yeah.
Well, if they're not a pet, they need to go. Because I have no bunnies left in my yard. I have nothing, that I used to have in my yard. Because of the cats, as that was from the drug dealer behind me that had all the cats, So, they need to go. Feral, they're not ever gonna be a pet, so.
Mr. Mayor, can I add something?
You absolutely
Okay.
can.
Okay, so we had a neighbor before, like in the trailer park, obviously. Before he moved, dozens of cats, and like he kept taking care of them, feeding them. And then the problem we had is they just came in our yard and used the bathroom in our yard.
Yes.
And then now he just recently moved because the whole trailers park situation. And I believe he took the cats. Am I right, Dad? Okay. So then he just moved them with him to a new location by the Mexican restaurant and the gas station. So there's now gonna be kitties running all over that place, getting in the Mexican restaurants, dumpsters, the gas stations.
Leslie's gonna be down here next week.
A little bit off subject, but I was listening on YouTube. You can have Morgan after she goes to college.
Oh, yeah. Good job, Charles. I love that.
I'm afraid if we don't get a hold of this, it's just going to get out of our control.
And then I'm pretty sure these cats that were running around are not mixed because they have like cats that look just like them.
Right.
Have you spoke with Mayor Crane or the town waste board? Because they don't seem to have this issue. in those
I
places,
even
so-
reached out on the AIM Mayor's Network. We have an email chain that hits all the mayors across the state of Indiana. And really, I didn't get much of a response. I thought there would be a larger response from my questioning on there. And I didn't get that from them, which surprised me.
Now, I do know Covington just got a hold of me because they are starting to see a lot of feral cats. So theirs is just now starting. I just talked to Crane actually.
Now, does Covington have a contract with Paws and Claws?
They just did, yes.
Just did?
Just did.
Because I know before.
They didn't,
They
but
didn't.
now it's just, animal control if needed and the TMO service.
Okay.
I have a question. Is the up to 6 cats a day on Mondays, is that for everybody or per person?
That is just who calls and then gets on the schedule. And the only reason we do it on Mondays is because I have 2 doctors. So if we need to do more, that's what I was offering, that we can offer, but it would have to be a scheduled Saturday. We could do more, it's just, we gotta get them tracked, because then we're not sticking our hands in there and getting bit ourselves.
Well, I agree with what some of the council members said here, in that seems like we're 2 steps forward, 3 steps back on these cats. And I think we're gonna have to come up with a more desperate measure or more concise measure to get ahead of it. We cannot keep going like we've been going. A lot of citizens, particularly elderly people, aren't going to have the capability of trapping a cat and bringing it down there in a trap. Most people don't even own a live trap, don't know where to get one.
That was my question. Does Paws and Claws offer traps?
We do not.
Okay.
So
We just don't have we don't have enough. All we have is 3, and that's.
All I'm saying is it makes it very difficult for the citizenry to get the cats down there, get them on the schedule. I mean, most people don't have the time, the patience, and in some cases, the ability to do that. So, I agree with what Mr. Moss said, in that, do we look at hiring some trappers to come in and clean out the population, and I don't know what you do with them then. I hate to go down the euthanization road, but I don't know.
I'd say preferably humane, but
Yes.
something needs to be done. I'd like to hear any kind of suggestions on.
Farmers love the
People
feral cats
are-
because they're good mop masters and they keep the mice down and the grain bins and everything else.
So when we
Farmers love
took in the feral cats, and we still did that at the shelter, it was always the farmers that came and said, hey, you got any cats that need to go outside? Yep. Then they would come and get them, and that's where they would go, as long as they were fixed. So then that's when we started the whole kind of TNR thing, because they wanted them, but they wanted them fixed.
Possums.
Well, I don't know that we're going to solve this tonight. But
If I could give my opinion, which the mayor doesn't like too much, but if I could give my opinion, I was on the other side and not on the council, and you came and presented, and there was a real concern that I read from the other council members, that they didn't feel like there was the value that they were paying for, and that you were giving to the city. It was not in line with each other. And then they also were concerned that you were double dipping with the county. Now, this is when I was on the other side and just kind of listening at 10,000 feet. And it was never where you could equate the work you do with the money you receive. And I always kind of thought, well, gee, why can't you just charge the city per dog or per cat or whatever? And piece rate, kind of a piece rate deal. But I think you have to figure out a way to, monetize your services with the city, and then we can go from there, because it does sound like we need to have animal control as well as, some animal control additionally, but I don't know if you're built to do that or not. So, and it may be that we have to put more money into it, but we get more services in return. But to me, it's kind of confusing on what you're getting paid for and what you're supplying. And we may not be able to solve that tonight, but I mean, that's my opinion.
So a roundabout, what you guys get quarterly, billed quarterly, that covers, so you've got costs, you got your vet cost of the animals coming in, you've got, all the staffing out there, you have the housing, to the upkeep, everything has went up in inflation. So then all of our product and dog stuff out there has went up.
Understand, that's your business and that's what you're good at, right? But I think you have to figure out how to monetize that and propose it back to the city, okay? Take all your costs and everything and break it down into something that's easy for us to understand. And then we know, okay, you're gonna do this with these cats, and you may need more money. You may need more money from us to give us what we want. I don't know, but it's clearly it's not working with what we got, so.
Well, and like I think I asked it one of the last times you came in too. I wanted to know like numbers on what we were taking care of. The numbers right now being like Attica numbers, Attica is paying for possibly animals that have not come from Attica. And right now you can't take any in from Attica that we're paying for. So I think that's a disconnect too, where I do like Johnny's not wrong about like, okay, if you take in a cat we're gonna pay you this amount of money. Or if you take in a dog from the Attica, we're gonna pay you this amount of money.
Yeah.
Because that to me makes
Seems
sense.
like we should pay a base rate and then pay what per animal after that.
Yeah.
Like,
Possibly.
we'll say, okay, this will help you pay your bills, your
Exactly.
electric and that. But we cut it off there, and then it's like piecework, like you said, when you get an
Right.
animal,
We got a
then
solution
we
that's
get
not
billed
solving
for
the
it.
problem.
So would it help if I bring in a breakdown through the year? of
It'd be
what
good
you
to
guys
know
Yeah.
provide
exactly what we're
annually,
doing.
like
No.
what the shelter is doing?
I'd love to
You
see
need a
you actually get a
breakdown.
barcode system in place, you know, a barcode system, so when you have an animal come in, you have your paper that's filled out and you got a sticker on it, you barcode it and you code it to whatever city, and even if we could go by zones, the way we have 4 zones of that districts here, and if you could actually put the zones there on where
Where
you're
it
getting,
came from.
where it came from, then we can see where the costs are, and then we have our hot spots that we can go work on.
And
okay?
actually, you might find Covington's got a lot more cats than we do, and maybe they should be paying more, or Petersburg.
Well,
Or what we may
and-
find is that we're paying for their cats.
And you know, I think that's a disc, and I know you said this came up before, but I think that the fact that Attica's paying, Fountain County is paying, and it's my understanding that not all of Fountain County is covered by Paws and Claws. So that whole thing kind of leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, you know, because people do feel like they live in Attica, they're paying twice. They're paying county taxes, the county's paying Paws and Claws, they're paying city taxes, the city's paying Paws and Claws, but yet when you're in the county, there are some areas of the county, it's my understanding, that are not covered. And so it's very disproportionate. And if there was a way to come up with a number for the entire county to pay, and the county would, Paws and Claws would cover the entire county, I think that would go a little bit better, but people don't like it. I've heard people complain about it. You know, why am I paying twice? And I really don't have a good answer for them. So I'm not beating up on you over this. You've probably heard this before, but you're the person sitting here hearing it. so.
Nope, you're fine, I know.
Actually, Mayor, there's situations where the citizens are paying 3 times. Because I know for a fact, through a very good friend that tried to do it, if you surrender an animal that you've had, they charge you to surrender it. So they're getting paid from the county, the city, and surrender fee. So that leaves a bad taste in citizens' mouths as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, but I think that perhaps the business model needs some looking at. Maybe, like, I hate to say it, but I agree with Johnny.
Put that on the record.
You know, maybe a pay-per-view type thing or
Oh my
something.
God.
You know, the basic thing is we're paying for a solution that is not solving the problem.
And it's a lot of money.
And it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this is something that we're gonna have to come up with a solution of some form. Like I said, I don't wanna blame these animals for things that humans are doing.
Is there a way that we can start communicating with her a little bit differently? So for example, can we break the city of Attica into 4 zones? Okay, our voting zones, we've got a district map that's been created. Can she start working with that? And can you start tracking your animals based on where they came from with those zones? Okay, figure out a way to get a barcode system. You can get it inexpensively. I mean, you get it for free actually. And you can use your phones, you can scan it, it's automatic, it pops in, populates spreadsheets. And if you put a little bit of time into that, it'll pay dividends off for you, but it'll also it'll give us data and trended data that we can work with. And you're going to probably find out you probably should be charging more for your services, but you can justify it, right? But clearly it's not working what we got, because we got cats everywhere. And so we need to come up with something. But if we can find a way to talk to her commonly, you know, with a common reference point, I think that would be good.
Well, what do you suggest? Should we table this until next month and then let her
Yeah,
go
just
back
we're
and
gonna
circle the
have to get some
wagons
feedback.
with her group? And
Maybe
does that sound
reach
okay to
out
you?
us, figure
Yeah, I can
something
come
out.
back next
And
I'll
maybe
have
we
to
won't make you sit here for 3 hours before we let you talk.
If you could just kind of tell us how many dogs have been from Attica and how many cats, just so we have a ballpark number anyway. Thank you.
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay. I was contacted by Brad Crane at Covington the other day and asked how much money the city of Attica wanted to contribute to the Fountain County 2026 celebration. And I didn't realize the county was taking donations for that from the cities. And I told Brad that, and I asked him how much Covington was putting in, and he said Covington was gonna give him $5,000 toward the celebration. And I said, well, I don't know that we're spending $5,000 on our own celebration, let alone the county's. But I told him that I would bring it up at the council meeting and try to get a pulse of what you all were thinking.
When do we have to know by?
Next
Well,
year.
it starts January 1st, probably.
I would like to hear what other cities or other towns are doing before I make any type of.
But we're the biggest, Covington's second biggest, so.
Oh, but we're not, we're the biggest city?
They're by about 200 people, according to what I've seen posted lately.
Isn't that
They
interesting?
are the Covington.
Isn't that interesting, everyone? I'll play
So-
with that.
You know, and we don't necessarily have money
No.
in our
Earmarked.
budget set aside for that. There's a discretionary fund for the mayor, and that's what typically pays for fireworks and some things like that. I told Mr. Bauer Band that I'd give him some money toward a banner to put up and some things like that, and perhaps the tent. But we don't have lots of discretionary funds laying around to spend on a county-wide celebration.
What are they using the money for? I guess that should be another question.
Didn't say.
Is there a way that we could get like in kind? Okay, so like if we could take some of our resources and, apply that to like $5,000, maybe not where we're giving them cash, but we can give them resources. I don't know if that's
I don't
possible.
know. I don't know.
I'm not saying no, I'm just want to know a little bit more. I guess I would like to know what other cities or other
Really,
towns are giving.
seems like somebody that's doing should come give us a presentation.
That's a great
What
idea,
they,
Dwayne.
what they need money for.
I think that's a good
That-
idea.
That would be very
Why
helpful.
don't I get
And I'm
ahold of-
sure that there are people from Attica that it's a Fountain County celebration. Maybe there are people from Attica that would like to
I
help.
think Jeff Bazar is helping with them. He's not an Attica resident, but he lives out east of Attica, and I think he's helping with that.
Yeah,
Well,
so
Larry,
is Brent and his mom. They're
Who-
helping with.
say that again?
Who's
Brent
that?
and his mom are
Oh,
helping
Brent,
with
okay.
it as well.
Oh, are they?
Because we've already discussed at the first meeting for the
Okay.
Attica 200, and they
Uh-huh.
plan on taking everything that we have for the Attica 200 down there to help to
Okay.
show it as well.
Okay, Larry,
Plus we have to have a city float.
so the funding request is coming from Fountain County though, right?
Yes.
It's coming from Fountain County, not
Yes.
Covington. It's coming
Right.
from Fountain
And
County.
Brad called on their behalf. And
Fountain
asked-
County what?
Fountain County,
Fountain County.
the
So-
county.
Is there any way to where we could work through the
Countywide
county to
celebration.
actually do this, where we could work through the commissioners and the county council to work out funding instead of coming directly from our coffers?
Yeah, I don't know. I just received that one phone call, and that was a 2-minute phone call, and I told Brad I'd have to think about it, talk to the council, and get the pulse of the council, what they would like to do. Like I said, there are some discretionary funds, but they're not available this year. We've spent all those for this year on our own celebration. So maybe next year's funds if it has to be a cash deal, but we need more information.
Yeah.
I'll motion to table it until the next meeting.
Got a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
We're all
Go ahead.
seconding.
Motion and a second, Dwayne seconded.
I think it's fair to say
All in
we-
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That short span, we gotta get this.
Thank you.
Somebody better speak
I think
someone.
Mrs. Wood had.
Federal spending policy.
Maureen, did you still have a
ordinance.
question?
Yeah, I still.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maureen.
Yeah, so if we figured out like what more information, like you said, and then could we maybe, because it's for Fountain County, like residents of Attica, if they like the idea, could we like have like where they donate money towards it from the Attica residents. So like since like cities are helping in, maybe the residents can like just
Probably do something on the Attica webpage, couldn't we? Like a donation.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like a
Tab or
donation.
something.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
See what you- Yeah, no, I don't think that's a bad idea either, Morgan.
Good job, Morgan.
But I think, again, I think we need to know where the money's
Yeah.
going, why they're asking. We need to know more.
Oh yeah.
Other
Yeah. I
than just
completely
give us
agree.
money. That
Before just
doesn't-
like give us money.
Yeah.
I hear that enough.
Well, you know, Larry, it's
You're
kind
dealing with a pretty smart girl there, so.
Larry, you know, it's kind of funny how this is money from Fountain County, but Covington's also having their bicentennial and Brad Crane's asking you for money, so, you know.
Federal spending policy ordinance. This ordinance is pretty much, my understanding, boilerplate from the federal regulations. Would you like to
Sure.
speak to that?
So what's going on is because the city has received federal funds, you have to follow federal guidelines for spending those funds. This is a pretty vague ordinance in the grand scheme of things, to be quite honest with everybody. It's from the CFR, which is the Code of Regulations. If anybody gets bored and wants to go do some light reading before bed, it's ecfr.gov. But that ecfr.gov, there's a specific subpart, is what it's called, that has these regulations on how you spend federal funds. The long and the short of that is that the expenditure of federal funds has to be reasonably prudent. I mean, you can't be, receiving federal funds and then buying Ferraris for all the council members. You're going to get in trouble for that. This is a very boilerplate ordinance. This is one of the ones that most of the cities and towns in Indiana, I did Indiana specific, if they've received a federal fund grant, this is what they pass. Did check the CFR, it tends to match up pretty well. Just saying, there's a timeliness element and a reasonableness element for spending federal funds. You can't hold on to the money forever. You have to use it within the grant parameters. The reason this is pretty vague is there's a lot of federal, different departments that all might do grants, and so it's designed to kind of be flexible to apply to all sorts of different grants, which is why it's a little bit vaguer than some of the other spending policies. Also, there's DNR, Department of the Interior, Treasury funds. I mean, it's across the map. So it's vague on purpose, but you have to have this in order to have those federal funds and spend them.
Okay, so I went through and read it best I could, and so things that hit me right away with this, okay? The clerk and Joanne's really good, and so I trust her, okay? I want to say that first, okay? But if we don't know who the clerk is going to be that takes over, okay? And I don't know who the councilman is that's going to take over for me. So that being said, this is only for federal funds, and we only have 2 right now, is that correct? We have 2 federal funds?
I know of at least one, there might be another one.
Okay, so this isn't something that happens often, but when I read through this, and the thing that was obvious to me is that the city council is giving, carte blanche, go ahead for the clerk to do whatever they want in any fashion form. And the city council really doesn't have any control once we pass this the way it reads, okay? And let me just finish that thought. Okay, so I'm just kind of thinking about future clerks, future council people. And then in addition to that, you get, not all federal grants are the same, they're for different things. And so is there a way to where we can put some stopgap measures in place, not just sign this and say, hey, let's go, okay? But say, okay, we'll agree to this, but each federal grant has to be reviewed. And so the city council will have a chance as these grants come in that we can put oversight on this, because this just seems to me like you sign this, you give the clerk the full reign to do whatever they want.
Actually, there is a lot of things in place. That's why we have a Board of Works, and they approve all the bills that go through. And I see what you're saying, but the Board of Works is actually a separate from us, just so the council's not overseeing everything. And they approve every bill that goes through.
Yeah, but it doesn't read that way. The way it reads,
she's free to, or the clerk's free to do whatever.
Whatever. I mean, it is 100%.
It says she's the one that can delegate.
And it's just not, the clerk, it's the new clerk that's coming in, okay? And it's the clerk after that. So whatever we we approve here. And it's gonna be harder to take it back and I'm just asking if it can be changed, modified, where we can put some measures in place to like, is there a decision-making amount that we can apply to this? Okay, so decisions up to 40,000 before it has to go in front of the mayor or it goes in front of the city council, because some of these grants are, what, $750,000 and such.
Well, and anything that's over $750,000,
Yeah.
I believe, automatically triggers a State Board of Accounts audit if it's federal. That's why the State Board of Accounts has been here for the last 3 weeks, and they'll probably be here another 3 weeks. So I assure you that they're going over every dotted I and every crossed T in everything. There's no way there's going to be any impropriety in spending
but
these
the way
funds.
this reads, though, the way it reads, it's very vague and
The
very
way it
general.
reads is the State Board of Accounts requires this to be passed by every city that receives federal funds.
Mhm.
And honestly, if they weren't asking for it today, we probably wouldn't be worrying about it tonight.
Just real quick, so there are some bumpers. So when it references state and local law, the council's laws or the law, the ordinances are the local laws. So there's already some bumpers. Specifically the cost principle section. This is on page 2. There is in C specifically. So these are consistent with city policies. So it has to kind of match federal and city policies. Obviously, if the federal policy is more strict, federal law will control, and then state and then local is normally the order of things. So there's some bumpers. And then if you look up at 5.2, there's kind of standard deviations from the established policies of the Common Council. That's on number 5, right at the top of page 2. And you guys already do have a purchasing policy in place too. So there's some bumpers, there's some kind of checks and balances here about how she's able to administer those funds. And that's what those checks and balances are, is to make sure that whatever the grant funding is spent also aligns with your own policies that the council has passed too. So there's bumpers. It's not just, blank check, go for it. There's, you gotta have to kind of align with what the council
I mean,
wants.
it's not an issue with Joanne at all, because I think she does a wonderful job. What it is, it's just, I want to make sure we know what we're signing here. And it just, the way it reads, it just sounds like that, it's kind of like that one we had that was for the Economic Development Board, where, the mayor and the clerk had, they could do anything they wanted without approval from the city council. And there was that one clause in there, right, that I was hung up on, and we got that removed. Now, is this something that has to be passed in this form, or can it be modified?
So my recommendation as your council is to pass it in this form because this complies with federal law and it matches the CFR.
Okay.
You can, in theory, go more narrow than the CFR, but I would, in terms of ease of interpretation and ease of administration, I would go consistent with the CFR. This is consistent with what every other city that I looked at in Indiana. I think I pulled 5 examples just to see of different sizes to see kind of what everybody else is doing. It matches this one to a T. I changed the city name and read the CFR.
Mm-hmm.
Not to my knowledge, those 5 cities that I looked at haven't amended theirs either. So, I don't think that they've had any issues with the way this is structured. My recommendation would be to follow federal law.
So Larry, I guess the funds will be coming, we'll know what they're coming for. She's going to disperse them to, more or less, right?
It's already happened.
That's what's saying. The funds are coming. We know ahead of time, and then she's just kind of chucking them out.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where
this was our water project.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
And it was over $1 million.
Yes. Okay.
So the State Board of Accounts pointed out that, hey, you don't have a federal spending policy in place, and that's an audit finding. But if you correct it before we get out the door, it won't be an audit finding.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, we had the sewer project. Now it's about $4 million, but that wasn't required then.
Was it federal?
Yeah.
Probably was federal.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't require it then.
I don't recall it.
Got an audit.
Well, it never came up, so.
And I don't know, maybe back then, maybe your purchasing policy was sufficient, and at this point in time, you need to have a distinct purchasing policy for the city and then a federal spending policy as well. And those 2 things kind of work part and parcel with each other.
Okay. Do we need a motion?
I'd say I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2025-08 11B.
Yes.
Have a motion to pass it as written. Do I
I'll
have a second?
second.
Have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Was that all ayes or
No,
none?
absent.
Okay, got one abstention. This one, I don't think we have anything ready on, but it's just a heads up. Building permit fees for sites along state right-of-ways. We've had several projects lately that required building permits because they were either in the city limits or in our 2-mile zoning radius. And in one case, it was in the radius. And our engineering fees for the drainage and so on that was required by the state of Indiana far exceeded the building permit fee.
Can you can you give me an idea, a rough estimate on what that might have been?
Do you know how much it was, Nikki, offhand?
I'm sorry.
The fee from HWC that we got charged?
I do not.
I don't
Larry,
either.
didn't you tell me 1,500 or something?
It
like
was,
that?
it was between $1,500 and $1,800.
That's
Is
what I
there
thought, yeah.
is there any? I know
More than the building permit was.
I feel like that's still something that we could go back to them and say, hey, listen, we can't take this cost in every time. So I feel like we could go back and say, listen, here's the bill. Like, I mean, this isn't our bill. This is for your project.
Well, and we did go back to HWC, and HWC recommended that we alter our ordinance because right now they work for the city. They don't work for the person who applied for the building permit. So unless we have something in writing that says that those fees will be passed on to the permit holder, or
could we try? I mean, could we try it? Even if
we did.
they said no.
It's not their bill.
So the person building it said no, or the company?
The person building it said no. It's not their bill.
So Larry, what do we have to do? We have to just approve this? You're looking for an approval from the
Well,
city council
I don't have
before-
anything to put in front of you right now, but I think what we're looking for is either
That's disappointing.
A
just to be
higher-
honest with you, that's just
a
really
higher-
disappointing.
fee for the building permit that would be refundable for what we didn't use out of the engineering fees.
Yeah.
Or we would just an understanding that when you get the building permit, that you will be billed for engineering fees on top of the building permit. I kind of, to me, I think that's a little cleaner. Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, mine's the opposite, but in my opinion, it's easier
That's
to
okay.
get the money up front. That way, if they don't pay it, you already have
You
it in
already
hand,
have it,
and you
and
can
that's
just
true.
refund the balance.
That's
And then
true.
that way, you guys aren't playing collections, which is
Could it also be? Could we also just? What happens if it exceeds? Let's say if this was $1,800, and let's say we do $3,000 to cover. What happens if it exceeds that?
So
Could
we
also
can
put
put
that
something
in
in the
there?
ordinance that if for whatever reason, and we do that a lot with like tap fees, where like if they're going under a highway, for example, and it's gonna be really expensive, they pay that additional cost too. HWC recommended setting it at $2,500. And so what we've seen in the past with other towns that we represent is there's a certain amount for if you're within the city, and then a certain amount if you're within the 2-mile fringe. And then that amount is refundable, but one fee for preliminary review and then one fee for final review.
And the difference being, just so everybody knows, and I already told Johnny this the other day, but at least if it's in the city, we're gonna get tax dollars out of that because it's taxable within the city. If it's outside the city in that 2-mile fringe, once it's built, all we're getting is the building permit fee.
We're not getting.
We're not getting a dime out of their taxes. The county is, which indirectly, I guess you could say that helps us, but it doesn't help pay our bills.
And is this only commercial concerns or residential?
It could be either one.
Okay.
But-
So are you proposing that we have two different fee structures then?
I think HWC recommended 2 different fee structures.
Correct.
Okay. And if it's a commercial, could we tie that to employment to give them a reimbursement on that? if they were to hire, a certain amount of people that they could get reimbursed?
That could be part of an EDA that we do with them.
Okay.
And I would maybe put that more so in the EDA rather than permits.
But
That way we're not
there's nothing
like
that says that, and I guess in the EDA it can say that, but, they could hire people from Petersburg or Covington or whatever, Lafayette, and that wouldn't help us at all. So it would have to be Attica residents paying Attica taxes for it to help us.
Well, I'm just saying it's a suggestion.
Oh, I get that. So
I'm okay with moving forward on it.
this was just an FYI, and so we'll get that prepared.
soon, hopefully, yes.
Soon.
We're playing
Okay.
catch up right now, but we're getting there.
Okay. So what happens when you take a vacation?
I know, shouldn't we?
The next one here, and I might have mentioned it to some of you. I think maybe I told Johnny the other day, but we had a situation where we had two different water customers that hadn't paid their water bill for a very long time because they were left out of our payment system. One person, the water was turned on when they moved here from Warren County, and they never bothered to call and say, hey, I need to set up my water service, because they were already getting water. And we didn't realize that they were getting water. We have a report that the clerk's office runs periodically for abandoned or vacant homes, and we go make sure that the water is still shut off at those. There was, I think, maybe 20 properties on that list, roughly, when they ran that last week. And out of the 20, there was only 2 that had water turned on that shouldn't have. The other property was a lady that had her water shut off, and it got turned back on, but her account was not set up in the system. And she knew she was getting free water. She knew she was getting free trash, but she kept her mouth shut and didn't say anything and hope for the best. Bottom line is that both of those are in the $3,000 arrears range.
A piece, 3 a piece.
A piece. So I think in the past, we have only given people like 90 days to set up payment terms for their arrears on water bills. And my thought is that for a $3,000 bill and you're paying your regular water bill on top of that, that could be very unaffordable for some people.
Yeah, that'd be about $250 a month on a year
But
repayment.
this is a real unique situation.
It
right,
is.
Larry?
It
Okay.
is. It
So
is.
I got some opinions on this. First of all, if the number of months that the city obviously allowed this to happen, and obviously we could have been told some things, but the city allowed it to happen. So I would say that a rule of thumb for Joanne is to allow her to give them a payment term of the amount of months that they didn't pay. They would have that many months to pay. And so I don't know if that's 30 months or whatever it is, comes to.
It wasn't that long.
It wasn't. Well, and I would also ask though that they sign a personal guarantee that they will pay it. The outstanding balance, because this is a real anomaly.
It is. It's kind of a one-off, and I even thought about, for lack of a better term, trying to cut these folks a deal, since we didn't set up the account.
Yeah.
But we're not allowed to do that.
And why it didn't get caught sooner too. I mean, if we run that check every whatever, it should have been caught sooner.
We're going to run it at least quarterly now. It hadn't been run in quite some time.
Yeah.
So just have them double up their payments until they pay it off, and that they have to sign, because they could move. They could move at any point in time. But if we agree to do this and give them time, then they have to sign a personal guarantee that they're going to pay.
Pay the balance,
Pay
even,
the balance,
even if they move.
Yep.
Sorry, note.
Does that sound reasonable legal wise?
Yes, the only thing is that I need you guys to bless it, and then the Board of Works also needs to bless this as well.
Do we have also their social security number in case they move and then we need to?
I think we do. Don't
Do we have that?
collect that, don't they?
We do now. We didn't at the time. Right? Why are you looking at, why did you make that face?
Do you have another social-
We did, don't we normally
I
take
don't-
their
I
social
don't think
security
we
numbers
keep
now?
that,
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
That
I
was-
thought that was like a thing that we were doing so that in case they were to move and they skipped out on their bill, that we could go after them for their bill.
Yeah, but if they're skipping out on their bill, they've only got a month or
We've
so
got-
for the.
Well, but I mean, this
And
one,
that's
we
why
got
we
free
collect the
pay.
$200 deposit.
Yeah, there's a deposit.
But see, in this case, that all fell through the cracks.
Yeah, it's a real anomaly.
It
what
is.
happens.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying is though, because this is the anomaly, we need to get their social security number.
Did you give your social security number?
They don't have to.
Unless you're-
That's not, we talked, I know
I
we
don't
talked
even
about
think we
this.
can
No,
require
you
it.
can't.
No,
You can't do
you can
that.
ask for a driver's license number, but not a social security number.
Driver's license.
You're not a bank.
Are they renters or homeowners?
Homeowners.
We talked about this at one time.
Homeowners.
Oh,
Social
it's
security
lien on their
number.
property. That's what you were gonna do for me if I didn't tear the garage down, you're gonna put a lien on my property. So put a lien on their property.
But it's not their fault though. It's not their fault. And
Well,
so.
In a way, it
In a
is.
way, it
Yeah, I know
is.
you're getting free water.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not
I would like to
100%.
do a
Talk
personal
about
guarantee instead of.
And there's a way to do that without their social security.
Okay, that's, I'm sorry that I
Okay.
misunderstood.
But yeah,
Okay, so-
I agree, but they
I'm
need to
not
sign some kind
totally
of a
crazy that we
document that
talked
says, if we move tomorrow, that we're still responsible for that bill.
But you're looking for a blessing to let Joanne negotiate something, and I'm okay with that, you know.
And you said a month for every month,
Yeah,
so they
just let
just
them
making
double
double payments. is
Double
what they're
payment, yeah.
doing.
Yeah, I mean, if it's only 12 months, if it's $3,000, that's $250 extra a month on top of the regular bill. That's pretty steep. I mean,
It
if
is.
Yeah, if I don't know how many months it was, like say if it was $3,000.
Well, the one had a pretty high usage.
Yeah, okay, so yeah.
I mean, it's not like they were paying the minimum bill. It
Yeah.
was,
If they had 18 months, then that would, if it could work out something that along that line, that would be good.
I hate that. I hate.
I hate it too, but,
Yeah,
and henceforth, we're gonna run that report every
Yeah, it'd
quarter
be caught, yeah.
now,
And
so
there
at least be caught.
We can't, like what you said, cut them a deal.
SBOA does not like that.
so
State
yeah,
Board
if
of
you're getting free
Council.
water, you know it.
And it's not even so much our sewer rate is the highest of the rate. The water is the lowest of the rate. And then you've got your trash on top of that.
Yeah.
And the one customer, for their benefit, the one, yes. When they were notified, they were like, yeah, we knew. But the other customer is a young, first-time homeowner,
Yeah.
from the country. So the water was on at this house when she purchased it.
She just didn't know.
She probably just didn't know. I mean, in
And
the
I love
country-
city life.
This
Free
is
water.
great. Free water, picking up my trash for
No, she
free.
didn't realize
I mean,
it.
in the
Yeah.
country, you don't pay for water.
Right.
So, I mean, she probably.
I hate that.
Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
do we need like
A motion
A
to
motion.
approve payment plans for the two utility customers, subject to Board of Works approval.
I make a motion that we allow payment plan to be worked out.
have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I don't want to say aye. Okay. Thank you. The only other thing I have here under new business is just informational again. I'm happy to report that, not as happy as I could have been, but I'm still happy. AIM health insurance renewal rate information came today, and they have us at 0 increase for this year.
That's good.
In the past, it's run about 15% on the average when we had Anthem, and it's 0. We were kind of hoping that they would actually decrease this a little bit since we went into the big pool this year, so to speak. But I'm still pretty happy that it's 0 and not 4, 5, 6% or more. So we'll be working with that here in the near future. We've got some dates here that we've got to hit. I've got to let them know which plans that we're going to take by September the 4th, I think it is. The open enrollment will start in November, like the 13th or 14th, and it'll run till October 13th or 14th.
Are we doing different plans?
We are going to offer a PPO this year, along with the high deductible plans.
And we are not putting money in, correct?
That I don't know yet. What I had proposed that we do, and I haven't looked at the numbers yet, so this is just a dart on the board. But what I had proposed that perhaps we look at what the difference is between the high deductible and the low deductible plan, and see what the city's portion of this plan's gonna be and the city's plan's gonna be for this one, for the high deductible plan, and then maybe put the difference in the HSA, and that way everybody gets the same dollar contribution from the city.
Got it.
Makes sense.
That's kind of a conceptual dart on the wall, but
When did you say they'll give you those numbers, or when they would give you the cost?
I got the cost today, but they came late today. But 0%. They actually put some bumpers on there. They said it could have gone down 3% or up 3%. They put some guardrails in, but the average was 0, and we were 0. They said most others that they looked at, like Anthem and everybody else in the state that they polled, were at around a 9% increase for the year. So I think we're ahead of the game there. HSA contributions went up this year for the maximum allowable. Delta Dental did have a slight increase. It went up about 7%, but they locked that in through 2027. They locked in United Healthcare and Optum for the pharmacy through 2028. They changed the life and disability over to One America. The employer cost dropped on that considerably. Actually, the employer cost went down 26%. The employee cost will stay the same. They locked in VSP for the vision, and it didn't go up at all. One thing that they mentioned, and I'm going to invite them in here to talk with the employees. But one thing they did mention that this year for the life and disability is they're calling that a true open enrollment. So there's no pre-existing condition clause or anything in there. So they have to accept you no matter what.
That's great.
This is a one-time deal only through One America. Again, the decision's got to be in by September 5th, so I'll be working on that. Open enrollment's October 15th through November 14th. That is all.
Love that.
So I thought that was good news. We ended up on a happy note here. Miscellaneous business, final council roundtable real quick. Can we go around the table? Mr. Roderick?
Yeah, I did have one thing. I had asked a long time ago who was going to take care of the landscaping when we got done with downtown. And now I've noticed there's a lot of dead shrubbery. And I didn't know if any of that was guaranteed when they did that. Okay, good. I just noticed that going by Watson's the other day, all those shrubs are dead.
They're on the hook to replace several of those and several trees. Whether Eric's got anything to add to that or not, but
I do not. I know Rod's been in contact with them.
they wanted to wait until fall and see how they came along, and we told them, dead is dead. They're not going to come back to life. So they're working on that.
That's all I had.
I talked with Eric a little bit just today about watering down there and maybe getting some soil in place on our lot down there so we can get some grass growing down there until such time that we get a developer on the hook.
That'd be nice.
For down there. I think it'd make it look a whole lot better. Planters are my understanding on to be delivered here pretty soon. I know the stone
Yeah, the stone
is, and they're working on the planters right now. We just finalized the drawings for the planters, and so that they'll be here. I don't know whether they'll be here in time for Heritage Days or not, but they'll be here before fall.
Okay, great.
And move forward on that.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith.
I just have one thing. I'd like to ask Ingrid, could you get me a copy of the most recent version of the board resolution or the ordinance that was passed?
I'll update it. and send it out.
I would like to see that, okay, because I don't feel, and I just want to let all my council members know and the mayor that I'm uncomfortable, incredibly uncomfortable when I hear there's a document that still has changes on it and I don't physically have a chance to look at it, okay? And we don't have it here and there are changes. And so this is going to be a reoccurring thing with me every council meeting if that happens, okay? I can't feel good about approving something that I'm not looking at when I know that there are changes that are active.
Again, you are not approving the appointments. You are approving the concept of that document. And there's a difference there. You're not approving who's on those boards. You're not approving any of that. You're approving the concept of that document, that we have a document and it's in place and we're going to pledge to keep it up the best of our ability. Is that a good way to put that?
The organization of the boards. I mean, it's in the titles. It's not necessarily, that these are the members and then this is how it's going to be forever. Ideally, we update this at the end of every year. It's just saying, hey, we do have 7 APC members. This is how they get on the board according to statute.
Yeah, and this is actually when they get reelected. This is their term limits and everything
that's
associated with
all on
it.
there.
And yeah, so there's a big document there, and I've heard multiple times that there's been changes and it's being updated. And then when we come in today and we hear that there's still members being added, and it's not, if we don't see something in our hand, I mean, I just start getting all kinds of uncomfortable. And so yeah, I got upset about it, and that's the reason why I'm just not comfortable. But we went through this a couple of times before, and if I could have a copy of that, with where we're at, and I can look it over, I can get comfortable with it. Okay, but when I'm forced to make a vote on something that I don't,
Nobody forced you to vote.
but to make yeah, it's a guesstimate is what we're doing, and I don't want to.
I
It's not-
guess
it's not
I
even a- it's not
guess I
even a
took it as
guesstimate.
it wasn't who. It's not who. It's the what. So it's not the people. So what you're looking at
It's
that.
no process.
So what
It is the process, but what I'm saying is, Kaylee, is that there are board members that are reelected, they're termed out, where are they at, where's everything at, right? There's a lot of information there that we really, as a council,
not-
should know.
We're not voting on their
I'm not-
terms that they've termed out or any of that. We're voting on the document that shows how long your term is.
Okay.
So
Okay?
not the
So
person
it's
or
not
the
the person,
timing.
it's that
The
It's
position.
just
mayor
the
still has the ability to appoint who he wants to appoint.
Right,
We don't
right.
tell him to
I
appoint.
guess-
That's right. No, I'm okay
I
with
guess
that.
I looked
I
at
don't-
it as it didn't matter whose name was on it. It does because we want to know,
Well,
but
yeah.
it doesn't matter whose name is on it. We
To
really
approve
probably
it.
needed to see a blank one because really that's what we were approving, a blank sheet.
Right, and I
That's
wanted
I
to.
think that's a good point.
Just a blank sheet,
And
right?
on Johnny's behalf, he probably needs to know anybody that's appointed by the council,
Oh, yes.
because he probably doesn't know.
No, I don't know. Jimmy and I don't know.
If somebody's on a board and it was appointed by which has been before I was on the council.
Yeah.
but-
No,
Without
1,000%. I just mean like, as a working document, we're approving
No,
no name, just a blank, I guess blank. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Right,
taking it as.
But I'm hearing that actually it's still being worked on, and it's like, and then that's what I'm hearing.
And it is,
But
there's
it's-
still some problems with
Yeah,
it. There's
so-
people on there that
so-
are listed as Republicans that are Democrats or vice versa.
But we're not approving the people.
But you're not approving that. You're
We're
approving.
So it's
The
not changing the
document.
structure. It's just
That's what's-
swapping out names.
But you understand what I'm hearing, right? When I'm
Right.
hearing this,
It's
I'm
not-
hearing that we're still making changes.
Right.
and
We're
we
not
just added
making
something.
changes.
Not to
We're
the
not making
structure.
changes to the structure, just to the people. The people don't matter
I
for
understand, but
us.
that's what I'm hearing. Okay, we're making changes, and so.
But I thought we clarified that
What
we're
we're
just
saying-
making changes to the people, not the document. The document has not changed, Johnny.
Okay, all right. Like I said,
Get that into your head.
Ingrid, could you send that to me, the document? Okay.
Yeah, I'll send it out with updated names. and
Thank
we've
you, I
got 'em
appreciate it.
Do you have
from this
anything
meeting.
else?
Don't worry.
Nope, that's it.
Jimmy,
I got two, but they're the same one. I'm concerned up there where Cedar and Maple run in together right before you hit the highway. That pavement has been horrible it's going 3
it
years.
is, it's terrible.
I know, I mean, I get a lot of other guys complaining, the potholes are getting a little more ferocious there. But also there's another spot down by Hank Piper on Brady and Maple, and I've mentioned it to Eric. It's kind of washing out right there by the drain ditch. I don't know what needs to be addressed, but it's getting bigger. I know guys come up.
finished filling potholes for the year,
Yeah.
so we've still got pothole
Yeah.
filling to do. And I know that's
It's a bad
lipstick on a
section.
pig.
Yeah, it's a bad intersection there. I mean, it's just like I feel like I'm running through the Badlands every time I go through there.
We, and I just so everybody knows, full transparency, we put more money in our matching grant fund this year for streets than we've ever put in it since I've been on the city council. We
Yeah.
put $300,000 in that, and that was a 25% matching grant.
Yeah.
And I know Dwayne's familiar with that. And you know, in the past, we could put in a lot less money and we got a lot of mileage out of it, really. We've got a list of streets that Eric recommended to get done, and we went out and actually drove some of the streets and looked at them. That was one of them. Unfortunately, the state of Indiana decided that wasn't going to happen this year. The Community Crossings grant, the people that got it the first of the year in January got money, and we've always applied for the second round in July, and they shut that second round down. And that's on my sheet here under miscellaneous business. 2026 Community Crossings Matching Grant applications will open October 5th. I've had HWC working very hard to make sure all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. There was some documents that I had to fill out. I had to go to an online class. There was a whole bunch of hoops to jump through to even apply for that grant, but I think we're in pretty good shape to get it. So that will be, that application in October will be for the January cut. So we're kind of jumping to the front of the line, I hope.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have some money. Hopefully we'll have some money to do some paving this spring as soon as the asphalt plant opens up.
And that was on my list,
Yeah.
the Maple Street, because Eric and I were talking about it back then.
And I know he mentioned something doing to replacing some pieces up there. That's why he didn't want to pave it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, like I say, it's going on 3 years.
And I
Oh,
think a
it's
gentleman's
bad,
come
yeah.
up, he came up with pictures too. I think a gentleman came or sent pictures into us.
You know, and you know, unfortunately, that's one thing that people don't understand is we can't just write a check and say, oh, okay, well, we'll fix that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'd love to, but it's not possible. I heard, I had people complaining this week, believe it or not, during the water outage situation that their limbs didn't get picked up. And I'm like, you know, there's people without water today, right? Yeah, but I'm like, well, we've only got a certain amount of people, and they're all up there in a hole.
Yeah, working on our water.
Working on a water main right now, and most of them didn't get any lunch that day. But you're worried about the sticks being picked up in front of your house. Well, yeah. Well,
I didn't have water. I have 4 kids
you've
and
got
I
to
have
have
potty training children. So I'll just tell you that's how that went.
you gotta have priorities here, you know. And I'm sorry that we don't have 50 guys lined up down at the city garage to send 5 here and 10 there, and it's the same way with money for streets and whatever else somebody feels that we need. I think everybody agrees that we need it, but you got to set your priorities, and water that day was a priority. They went back out after that was fixed the rest of the week and picked up the sticks and things, and hopefully they didn't miss anybody.
I also want to say I feel like they fixed the water very quickly.
They did.
I was
They
very
did.
pleased.
Yes, and you know, unfortunately, it required a boil order, which
It
put
was
some
fine.
folks, not a boil order, it was a boil advisory, but it put some folks in peril with.
Hey, I'm still here.
businesses and so on.
I'm here too. We're right there.
Yeah, so I'll come off my soapbox there, but we're doing the best we can on streets is the bottom line. If somebody's got a bigger checkbook, they want to write a check, I'm all ears. Mr. Moss?
Just want to invite people in the community to reach out if they got any ideas on the stray animal issue. This is something that's not going to solve itself, and I'd like to, if somebody wants to email me on my, my government website, find it on Attica online, or stop me at the post office or grocery store or wherever, and something I'd like to see solved, I guess the ordinance about the semi-trailers, is that something we were gonna?
Yeah, we were gonna cover that in a second, right?
Yeah, I could just briefly go over what we're doing there.
Okay.
There's a meeting Thursday from what I understand. We have a meeting Thursday. about
Oh,
it.
this is a different ordinance.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
You're good, you're good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Other than that, that's all I got.
Me? Or
You.
Ingrid?
Yeah.
I have a couple things. So I want to make sure, I want to clarify for myself, so that I'm just going to be honest with you. I've been dragged through Facebook land, and I want to clarify that the ordinance that we passed, we were passing it based on it not being filled in. I'm going to say that for myself. I completely get what you're saying. I am not upset with you. I don't want to be dragged through the mud, just to be honest with you. So for myself, I want to clarify that this is what we were passing. I'm not appointing somebody. I'm not passing an appointment. We did get the email. We got the email back on July 15th. That is what I read it. I'm passing I don't want to say the form. The framework, the form, the structure. That's all I have to say about that. I understand what Jimmy's saying 100%. I get it. I just don't want to be dragged through the mud. I'm sorry. Johnny, I'm not. He was concerned too. I'm sorry, Johnny. Don't hate me. I'm so sorry. That was number one. Number two, we had our APC meeting. That's what this was coming from with the semi-ordinance that we're talking about passing. Ingrid's going to go over that in a second. We're also going to be talking about zoning issues. We're going to be working on that in the next couple months. So I just want to make sure if you guys know of any or want to be a part of that conversation, feel free.
So this zoning issues is, and I was at the meeting, but just to clarify, that is for areas that are zoned one thing but are currently being used for another.
Yes.
So in other words, if your house sits in a place that's zoned for business and it's no longer being used as a business, it used to be a grocery store, and now you're living there and it doesn't really need to be zoned for business any longer, we'd like to start cleaning some of those up.
It's a good thing to do because it can still bite you down the road if you don't.
And Ingrid made the comment that if they were to sell a property or anything like that.
And it was improperly like a residential property. That's a whole different
lot.
Yes.
There's actually a statute
Not there
now
anymore,
for
but yeah,
that.
that's been
According to all the realtors that I've talked to in Warren County, they've showed me it, but things need to be zoned correctly for at least residential properties. And there's a big handful in a certain section of town, I'd be able to point it out on a map, that whenever the zone map was made, it looks like the commercial swung a little bit too far into the residential area, and we need to put them back as residential properties.
Where's that area at?
It's like, we looked at it, 2 years ago when you were mayor? And we didn't do it because it's an expensive process to do.
That was the
just
other thing.
with
We're not
certified
necessarily,
mailings.
yeah. We're not doing it
It's
just yet.
up, and I'm not an Attica resident, but it's up.
Is it up by the Pizza Hut area?
No, it's by the gas station, by Horizon Bank. If you keep going down that road where it kind of triangles off where the McDonald house is, there's a decent chunk up there that's zoned in kind of a weird way.
Okay.
A portion of
That
Booth
used to be
Studies.
a funeral home many years ago.
But there's like a
Oh,
handful, there's like 5 or 6 properties that probably need to flip back to residential that might have gotten caught up in that. There's a lot of spot zoning in the areas closer to South Perry.
I was gonna say on Perry Street, there used to be little stores and stuff
Yeah.
down there towards the Ball Diamond.
Brady Street.
And
Yeah.
a dry cleaner at one time, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And spot zoning is
Spot
generally
zoning,
frowned
yeah.
upon, so correct that. People will have a chance to come in and, make requests, things like that. But tidying that up, that's an expensive process. But
So
I
we're
mean,
just starting it. We're
yeah.
not gonna
we
do, yeah.
did that.
I
but
think
like-
it'd be worth $600 to get cleaned up, to be honest with you.
Well, what about resurveying those properties at the same time? Because it's a big mess up there with the surveys. And, most of the titles on those properties up there read like, well, this oak tree and, 3 clicks off of that. And it would be great to get some points, survey points up there as well, if it's going to be done.
Well, and so with rezoning, we don't really address legal descriptions, but if we wanted to rezone or resurvey certain sections, you're looking at like $20,000+ instead of.
That should be more of a property
sell, yeah, when they
owners, I
sell.
would think, if they were.
So I just wanted to update you on that, but Ingrid's gonna also go over this ordinance. We did,
Just real fast.
yeah, we passed the residential, this is for commercial.
And APC asked us to look at commercial industrial just because there are some spots here and there. The focus isn't necessarily on limiting how many you can have, just making it aesthetically pleasing, especially in those areas that butt up against residential, historical, in the downtown district. So the APC is looking at passing an amendment to the zone code where if you have an industrial commercial property that butts up to one of those three types of districts and you do keep store or shipping containers on those properties, you screen them from sight by putting up a fence, is what they're asking.
Or vegetative.
Or vegetative screening.
Would have to be a pretty tall fence to cover a
Well,
shipping container.
Yeah, just trying to make it not look more like a lay down yard and more like a uniform fence is I think what the thought process was there. But that is kind of just a preliminary. We will have a better one after it goes through APC. We didn't have full membership tonight.
When is that next meeting?
It's usually right before the next
Yes, next-
council meeting,
yes.
so 4:30.
4:30 on the same day as the city council?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. I'll double check it for you right now.
So if you wanted to change your property from residential to commercial, would that be the meeting to go to?
You would, if you personally wanted to change your personal property and that wasn't on the list of ones to be corrected, you would request a rezoning. And that wouldn't be at that meeting. You would have to file a petition for
It
rezoning.
says it's
with-
4:30, but I think
At that meeting.
You can
I'll
do that
double check,
anytime.
but I'm pretty
I think
sure
we're
because-
just kind of, so we want to finish shipping
I'm pretty
containers
sure
and
it's
then
what-
we'll
and
start
it's
working
September.
on fixing the zoning issues.
Sorry.
There's just a lot of properties that aren't
Because
zoned
typically we can't get things.
for
done
what
in
they're
like
being used for currently.
half hour. So I would say it's like
And
45.
it's,
is
you know, it's a historical thing. They never changed back in the day and a lot of them. So is that it?
That was that, I'm sorry.
Mayor, I just got one thing you and I talked about. On my list here, I've got a TIF meeting on Thursday. There's some TIF meeting that somebody mentioned something about, and I think.
Yes, we do.
Cindy's shaking
Yes.
her head yes.
It's
When
our.
is that on Thursday still?
Yes, it's at 5:00.
Okay.
Redevelopment.
Tilly is
in Baker Tilly, yeah.
Because we have to do the annual.
It's the redevelopment's annual meeting with,
Okay, and is it here?
yes.
Okay, because I wanted to come to that one. Yeah.
5
It's
o'clock?
5,
5
yeah,
o'clock,
5 to,
okay.
well, 5, yeah, it starts 5. I'm sure it'll be longer than 5 to 6. But it's a good informative meeting. It's, we have to have it every year. It's good.
It's this Thursday?
Yes.
So I wasn't aware of that. Johnny asked me about it today and I said, I don't have it on my calendar.
Check the app.
The Connect app?
Touche.
Yeah.
Well, we looked there though, and it didn't say TIF meeting, did it?
It's, sorry, I'm on September. It's the redevelopment commission. annual
Oh, okay,
meeting.
so
It's-
it's,
yes.
yeah, so it didn't say TIF.
No,
'cause-
no, it's that, but that redevelopment does the TIF.
Okay,
Yes,
that's the reason why we didn't know.
that makes
Okay.
complete sense. Yes. I don't have anything else, sorry.
I don't have anything else on the agenda. We've already been around. So I'll go ahead and call for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Real quick, Larry, the dinner at the Ravine Park tomorrow is not 4 to 7, it's 5 to 7. It's on there.
This is just a typo. Do you want that?
Oh.
No.
For Dalton.
Was that on the agenda?
It's under miscellaneous.
I'll just use that.
Yeah, I think originally Tim told me 4 to 7, but I think they shortened it
On
up.
their website, it says 5 to 7.
Anybody, can I have your folders?
No. Well, if you get there at 4,
I got a good collection.
you can wait
I'm
till
sorry.
food's ready. You're not late.
One last thing. I'm so sorry, Johnny. I said Jimmy.